recently. So.
Now, unfortunately, you've had a few injuries over the course of your career. Just talk about what kind of mentality that on coming back to push through that and then take a fifth year so that you can come back and play another year.
Yeah, with the injuries, I think it's kind of just been something, you play football for 14 years. I've had a couple freak accidents, some minor injuries here and there. And, it's really just been my love for the game of football. I never want to stop playing. I think I'm fortunate to be able to have an extra year. The game. This is the greatest game there is, and I think as long as you can play, I think you should play it. And I was fortunate to where Coach Rogo and the staff was able to. They were willing to have me back, and Matt Smith and the rest of the training staff has been able to kind of keep me pieced together here for 5 years. And it's been tough sometimes. The injuries wear on you mentally, but just the idea of going out there and working with your teammates and your brothers every day, and I've never wanted to let that go. So just try to keep on playing as long as I can.
Now, you were part of last year's senior class, and a lot of those guys are the guys you came in with but are no longer here. This year's senior class, does that kind of, give you, an extra sense of brotherhood, just the fact that, you've been with these guys all 4 years, you've seen some of them come into the program a little bit late. Just talk about this class.
This class, being a fifth-year senior, being here longer than any other player on the team, it's been different. I'm really close with those guys that I came in with, and I think that's just naturally going to happen. But it was a little weird being, starting winter conditioning and seeing all those guys I came in with not there. It was definitely weird, but it's been nice just kind of, reforming myself in a senior again with these guys. And I've almost kind of felt like a big brother to a lot of guys. It's good to see guys that come in younger and as, they mature and get better, and they grow up, and we're all becoming men, and I think that's something that's cool to see. And somewhat with this class, I kind of feel like a little bit of an older brother to a lot of guys, more so than the same age as the guys that I came in with the guys that I came in with that graduated last year.
Any of the guys give you an old man nickname of any sorts this year?
I don't know about any particular nicknames. It's just kind of been old man, and there's been jokes. Seems like every day that I'm just the old guy. So.
Well, this is Cory Heater, senior running back here for the Capital University Crusader football team. Cory, talking a little bit about this year's senior class a little bit more. Like I said, some of these guys have come into the program from other places. Some of them are homegrown. Talk about some of the guys that when you look back in this year's class that are going to, have left an impact on you, whether it be in your football life or in your personal life.
I think, I'd have to start off with Tom and Dar, just because we live together, and those are the guys I'm with all the time. There's guys that I can remember coming in together, that first group, guys like Corey Mays, Connor McLeod, Jordan Duncan, that have come in, and I remember being a sophomore and them coming in as freshmen and thinking like, man, these guys are going to be really good, and they've grown up, they've matured, including, guys like Drew Sleeg, who was my roommate for a couple years, Logan Hernan, guys like that. It's nice to see them kind of mature, and, we've become closer over the years, which has been really nice.
Well, we're going to get back onto the gridiron here. Last year, this team that we're going to be facing today left a little bit of a sour taste in you guys' mouth after a 37-30 overtime win down in Wilmington. This year, what's the mentality going in?
Coming off a big win last week, we're kind of thinking, we need to finish out this season. Coach Rogo's been talking about it's a sprint to the finish, and we're not gonna just be satisfied with what we got last weekend. It's we got to build on that, and we got to keep rolling and keep going forward. And we do have a little bit of a sour taste from last year. Unfortunately, that was a game that ended my season. I wasn't able to stay and watch the second half, but watching film from that game, and I hope I think this year we can turn it around and hopefully play the way we should and the way we know how to play, and execute and hopefully come out with a win.
We'll get back to you personally in this game, but talk about the Wilmington Quakers just a little bit more. You go and look at their statistics, and a lot of their leaders are very young guys, freshmen and sophomores. Many of the guys that were there last year, including their quarterback, not there anymore. So what's the difference between this year's team and last year's team?
Yeah, I think when you play a young team like that, a lot of times, they're just, it's sometimes it can be a good thing because they don't know what they don't know, and they can make plays, or they can be young at times, and hopefully we just execute and do what we know how to do to where we it's turns out for a win for us. But them being young, they are athletic. They've got playmakers on both sides of the ball, and I think we do too. So it should end up being a good game.
Now, you mentioned that last year this was the game that didn't go so well for you. It put you on the bench for the rest of the season. Just for you personally, being senior day, for it being a kind of a rivalry match for you personally, what does this game mean for you?
I think it's a big moment since it's my last game here at Bernlohr, at Capitol, playing in front of a home crowd, which is it's going to be a nice moment. I would say, I wouldn't say I have any personal vendetta against Wilmington. It's an opponent that I want to beat just like I want to beat every other team. But it's exciting. Hopefully we get a win. Just excited. It'll be cool being the last time. I'm sure there's probably some people that'll be like, oh man, he's still here, like he's finally leaving. So
well, we don't want to see you leave, but we understand that the time is coming near. We hope that you have a great game today, and good luck to you and the rest of the Crusaders against the Wilmington Quakers.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
This has been Cory Heater, senior running back for your Capital University Crusaders. We kick it back out to Charlie and Jimmy in the Rusty Bucket pregame show.
Thank you very much, Ryan. Cory Heater, fifth-year senior, and boy, Jimmy, Cory Heater, talented player for Capital. It's just a shame that for much of his career he had to deal with the injury bug.
Yeah, he sure did, and it was mentioned as here at the field level when they were talking about his accolades. His junior season, he had 7 touchdowns, and then, the season was cut short due to injuries, and tried to get going again last year. Again, the injury bug kind of hit in once more, and this season it's been kind of a struggle for him to get going as well. He's missed 2 games, and they've been kind of trying to labor him through this season and make sure they don't put too much on him. Today this could be a game where they really unleash Heater because there's really not much more to play for. There's 2 games left in his career here, so no point in really saving him for the rest of the season or anything. And Capital's desperately trying to get something going in a running game this season. I think today could be a good chance to get Heater involved.
They are just now finishing up senior honors here. It is senior day here at Capitol. 17 players will be here at Bernlohr Stadium for the final time, wearing the purple and white proudly for this Crusaders squad. Capitol last week getting its first win of the 2018 season after a wild win at Otterbein. Now, boy, Jimmy, if nothing else, if there is one game that you want to win, if you want to have a one-win season, it's getting that win at Otterbein. We talked earlier in the pregame show about how it's been really tough for Capital so far here in 2018. A lot of close ball games to some really quality opponents that Capital was right there with, but they weren't able to finish the deal. They were able to do just that against Otterbein last week.
Yeah, and literally inches away from losing another close loss. So it's a big win that really changes the direction of the season. You'd be coming in this game with an 0-7 Wilmington team, and both teams would be kind of desperately fighting for that first conference win. I mean, if Capital wins these last 2 games this year, they finished 3 wins in conference play, a 3-5 record that would be. And just obviously what could have been is kind of what it turns into. Again, they lost to a bunch of teams that are pretty solid. 5-2 Marietta team, they lost by 1. Lost by 4 to Heidelberg, lost by 3 to Ohio Northern here last time at home. I mean, those are games that they can look back next year and say, we can get this win next year and try to flip this schedule around a little bit. And you're looking into next year to see what games you can keep wins from this year, and then obviously you're going to need to turn some of those games from next year into some of the losses from this year into wins next year if you want to compete in the middle of this conference, which a solid goal for this team next year would probably be a 5-win season in conference play. And they almost had it this year. If they win these last 2, you can look back at this year and really kind of say what could have been for this offense, and if they just got a little bit more help throughout the season, a lot of high-scoring losses. Hopefully today it's a high-scoring offense with some help from the defense and a comfortable win for Capital to send these seniors off in a good mood and be 2 solid wins right there back-to-back. A road win against your rival that everyone on this team hates, and then coming back home for senior day, getting a win as well. That would be a pretty nice send-off for these seniors.
Capital won the toss. They deferred, which means that Wilmington will receive the ball to begin this game. Capital in their purple jerseys, white numbers, white trousers with purple piping down the side of the pants, and the traditional white helmet with the Crusader logo on each side of the helmet. Meanwhile, for Wilmington, white jerseys along with white trousers, light green numbers, white helmets, as well as the Wilmington logo on each side of that helmet with a green stripe going down the middle. Capital with a purple stripe going down the middle of their helmet. We are just about set for football here at Bernlohr Stadium, the final home game for the Crusaders here in 2018, looking to make it 2 straight wins after a monumental win at Otterbein. They are looking to keep the momentum going here today against the Quakers. Blake Middleton, the sophomore from Miamisburg, Ohio, has it teed up. He's ready to go. Raises the left hand. Toe meets ball. We're underway. And this is a short kick that is fumbled. No, it's actually caught by one of the up men. And he will take it to about the 33-yard line. The man who made the eventual catch looked like was Malik Pettiford, senior halfback out of Washington Courthouse, Ohio, in a very odd start to this game. I don't know what Middleton was doing right there, Jimmy.
Yeah, I'm not sure if that was a designed kind of squib kick and just got too far under it, or maybe it was kind of a onside kick kind of play. But I mean, it doesn't hurt them too bad. Starting field position at the 33, so still good field position for Wilmington, but nothing that Capital can't recover from.
So now the Quakers will have the ball 1st and 10 at their own 33-yard line. Just underway here in Bexley, and boy, what a beautiful day for football, by the way. As Barrett will go back to pass, he'll throw, got a man, it is caught at the 30, and just like that, Wilmington gets on the board. Kyle Barrett able to hook up with his main man, the freshman Luke Richardson, and just like that, the Quakers are out to a 6-0 lead.
Yeah, Luke Richardson, we said, was the guy to watch today, and he just showed you why. And he had 5 or 6 yards of separation there from the cornerback, and it turns into an easy touchdown, first play of the game, and Wilmington is on the board.
Not even 20 seconds into our game, and just like that, the Quakers are out to a quick 6-0 lead. Tyler Butcher is now on for the point after. Left-footed kicker for the Quakers. Snap back, hold down, kick is on the way, it is up, and it is good. We will pause momentarily. We'll be back with more of Capital football here on the Capital Sports Network in just a moment. Wilmington out to a 7-0 lead over the Crusaders. A 67-yard touchdown reception by Luke Richardson has given Wilmington a 7-0 lead over Capital. 14:42 remaining in our first quarter of play. Boy, Jimmy, from the word go, Barrett knew what to do with that pass. It was a beautiful strike to Luke Richardson, who has been coming into his own in his freshman season.
Yeah, Richardson had 1 catch against Earl in the first game of the year. It was a 61-yard touchdown. He has a touchdown in every single game this season except for the Mountain Union game. And his last 3 games, he's averaged over 85 yards of offense from the receiving game with 5 total touchdowns, including 2 games with 2 touchdowns. So obviously he is coming in red hot and continues that today.
Let's see if Antoine Shipp can make a big play here in the return game. He is 9th in the NCAA in kickoff return yards, and instead it won't go to Shipp. He'll go to one of the up men. To the 20, to the 25, out to about the 30-yard line. Looks like, let's see here, trying to find a number here. It looks like that was Jaden Giadatino.
Yeah, that looks like Wilmington was also offsides on the kickoff, so Capital should get another 5 yards here, too, on top of that return.
We're on offense.
I was waiting for the announcement there from the official. Here it is.
Offside, kicking team. Number 4, 5 yards will be tacked on to the end of the run. First down.
So we get to see Capital's offense come out onto the field. Here's their starters. Left tackle, Ben Dews. Nick Russell's the left guard. Center's Josh Boyle. The right guard's Jake Fry. The right tackle is Joshua McSweeney. Tight end, Andrew Klein. Wide receivers, Dartavius Stanford and David Barnett. H-back, Wyatt Bertussit. Running back, Evan Butler. And the quarterback, Thomas Wibbler. 6 foot, 195-pound senior out of Zanesville, Ohio. He has set all sorts of records here at Capital during his brief time here in Bexley. Former Ohio Dominican Panther at the Division II level, decided to transfer to Capital back in 2016. What a career he has had in the purple and white. 1st and 10. Capital at their own 37-yard line. And Wibbler will hand off to Butler, and Butler will find some running room across the 40 down to the 41-yard line. Defensive stars for Wilmington look like this. The defensive ends are Weston Trampler and Kyle Ackley. The defensive tackles are Jaden Profit and Michael Vargo. The linebackers, Royan Washington, Tavion Bryant, and Dusty Likens. Cornerbacks are Kay Taylor and Paris Weathersby. Free safety, Zach Zerfus. And strong safety, Trequez Parks. 2nd and 6. Capital now at their own 41-yard line. Trailing Wilmington 7-0 here early on. Wibbler will go with a 5-wide set out of the shotgun. Wibbler barking out the cadences, now takes a snap. Throws complete to the 45. Connor McLeod making the catch. McLeod had a nice game against Otterbein. 5 catches for 80 yards. As McLeod is very close to a first down, and Capital now going with a little bit of a hurry up here. As Wibbler will simply push forward, and they have it marked right at the first down marker. This should be a first down for the Crusaders.
Doing a nice job keeping the drive alive as usual here for Capital, and much different kind of drive than Wilmington, obviously, with the big play on their first snap.
67-yard touchdown reception by Luke Richardson gave Wilmington an early 7-0 lead, and now Capital trying to counter here offensively. They have it 1st and 10 at their own 47-yard line. Wibbler's in the shotgun with 3 wideouts to his right and 1 to his left, so 4 wide. Butler the tailback, high snap, and Wibbler's able to handle it. Pass complete to Stanford, and Dar will dive forward across the 50 into Wilmington territory before he's finally taken down on the play at about the 48-yard line. Making the tackle was Zach Zerfus, the free safety.
Capital rotating a lot of players here on this opening drive. Dylan Schoonover now in the backfield with Butler.
Schoonover, one of the players that I talked with Chad Rogaszewski about in our pregame show, and he's a Swiss Army type of player that can do a little bit of everything for this Capital offense. 2nd and 5. Capital at the Wilmington 8-yard line. A give up the middle to Evan Butler as he'll push forward. He'll eventually be taken down at the 44-yard line, so that's a gain of 4 on the play for the junior from Dayton, Ohio, Evan Butler.
And Butler's looking good on his first couple carries here today. He's had a tough sledding this season, 52 carries for 59 yards, a lot of just kind of 1 or 2 yard pickups for him. The most yards he's had in a game is 25. He also scored a touchdown in that game against Marietta and just doesn't get the benefit of a lot of blocking, and he's starting to get some blocking here. We can see what he can do with it.
3rd and 1. Capital at the Wilmington 44-yard line. 4 wide, 3 receivers to the near side, 2 to the far side, as Wibbler is all by his lonesome in the gun. Wibbler will go back to throw. It is complete to Dar Stanford as he will make the catch, dive forward to the 37-yard line. First down, Crusaders.
Again, nice little 3rd and short situation, and they just go to a quick pass and move the sticks. Not trying to get too antsy here and throw deep passes or anything early on, just taking what the Wilmington defense has given us and it's turning into a nice methodical drive.
11:32 remaining in the first quarter. Wilmington 7, Capital nothing, but the Crusaders are driving. 1st and 10 at the Quaker 37-yard line. Wibbler with 2 receivers to each side of the field. He'll now put Stanford in motion. Fakes a jet sweep to Butler. Butler will rumble forward across the 35 all the way down to the 32-yard line before he is finally taken down on the play by Wilmington's Zach Zerfus.
There's Butler getting going again. He's going to be a senior next season for this team, a junior running back, and been leaned on a lot with the injuries that we talked about, the Heater in the pregame show. He's kind of been that next man up. And he's, again, finally getting some blocking. We can see what he can do, pushing the pile a little bit.
2nd and 5. Capital at the Quaker 32-yard line. Wibbler with a receiver to each side. Now he puts Bertussit in motion. Again, the fake to the jet sweep, and now Butler with the run. Now the ball is loose. It is a fumble, and Wibbler is able to fall upon it.
Good heads-up play there from Wibbler following that play up. It's going to be pretty much back to the original line of scrimmage here, so 3rd and long.
Capital very fortunate that they did not turn the ball over that time. That ball just simply popped out of the red basket of Evan Butler, but Wibbler, Johnny on the spot, is able to dive upon it and keep this drive alive for Capital. Sets up a 3rd and 10 from the Quaker 37-yard line. A little over 10 minutes to play in the first quarter. Wilmington with a 7-0 lead over Capital. Wibbler with 2 receivers to his right, 1 to his left. Wibbler now takes the snap, back to throw. Takes a deep drop. Throws, it is caught by Stanford. Stanford will lean forward, and I think he has enough for the first down.
Fantastic route there from Stanford, catching it basically right at the sticks, and there's 2 guys trying to bring him down. He stays up on his feet and kind of lurches forward just to get enough for that first down. He knew exactly where the marker was, you could tell. As soon as he popped up, he started pointing to the official that was a first down.
So a 1st and 10 for Capital at the Quaker 27-yard line. Wibbler once again on the shotgun with 3 wideouts at his disposal, flanked by Schoonover as well as Evan Butler. Play action. Throw. Oh, that could have been a dangerous pass right there. The intended target was Dar Stanford. In the vicinity defensively, boy, we've been calling his name a lot so far today. Zach Zerf is the free safety.
I feel like Stanford ran a different route than Wibbler was expecting there. Maybe it was an option route, and he cut inside. The throw went outside. Fortunately, it was behind the safety as well and just kind of harmlessly went to the ground.
So it's 2nd and 10. Capital still at the Quaker 27-yard line. 2 receivers to the near side, 1 on the far side, that being Derek Barnett, and Butler continues to be in there at tailback. He's on Wibbler's left hip. Wibbler takes the snap, play action. Looking to go deep. Throws, it is caught. Caught inside the 15-yard line and down to the 11-yard line. A guy that has really been emerging as a playmaker for this Capital squad, Cameron Lee, making the catch.
This guy's awesome. I get here early before the soccer games, and they're finishing up practice, and this guy's a monster in 7-on-7 drills. And first kind of caught my eye before that Ohio Northern game. He ended up catching 2 touchdowns in that game, his only 2 catches of the game. He is a phenomenal playmaker in the passing game. Big target.
1st and goal from the Quaker 10-yard line. Wibbler looking to throw. He is being hounded, and he's going to be sacked. Sacked back at the 14-yard line. Eventually bringing him down on the play is Kyle Ackley, the 6'2", 200-pound senior.
Yeah, just a coverage sack there. Everybody was covered well. Wibbler continued to step up, and almost ran the ball forward there. I think he was marked for a yard loss. So
2nd and 11. Ball will be at the 11, so really it's 2nd and goal.
Yeah. No worries here on that play. Obviously, it's just basically an incomplete pass at that point in terms of losing the yardage on the sack.
So now Wibbler will once again be in the shotgun. 4 wide receiver set. Butler still in at tailback. Stanford and McLeod to the near side. Dar Stanford and Barnett to the far side. Wibbler back to throw. Looking to run inside the 5, and he's into the end zone. Touchdown, Capital. Thomas Wibbler getting it done with his legs.
Yeah, good job there, sealing the outside there by both Pertusit and Lee. Sealing the edge, and Wibbler just kind of sneaks in front of the pylon. And a much different drive than we saw from Wilmington there. Almost 6 minutes came off the clock there on the drive. Started at 14:37, so actually 6.5-minute drive. And it ends in the same result, a touchdown for Capital.
So Capital trailing Wilmington 7-6 here with the extra point pending. Here comes Blake Middleton, Miamisburg, Ohio native. Snap back, hold down, kick is up, and it is good. Quick timeout, 8:07 remaining in the first quarter. 7-7 game between the Crusaders and the Quakers here on the Capital Sports Network.
7 seconds in the first quarter. Score, Cap 7. Quakers 7.
Capital was able to respond offensively, tying the game at 7 apiece. Crusaders and Quakers taking on one another on Senior Day here in Bexley, Ohio. 8:07 remaining in the first quarter. A long, productive drive capped off by an 11-yard touchdown run by senior quarterback Thomas Wibbler. Good drive for Capital. Nice bounce back for the Crusaders.
Yeah, and a good response, like you said. kind of methodical drive and getting control back of this game here. Now you can kick it away, and we're basically restarting.
13 plays, 63 yards, and 6.5 minutes of clock used on that drive. As Wilmington will get the kickoff here, and the return out to the 23-yard line. Looks as though making the return that time was Aaron Johnston.
And Mike Clark in on the stop.
So now Wilmington's offense will come out onto the field. Here are their starters offensively. Left tackle is Dylan Fawley. Left guard is Chris Jersky. The center is Nick Moore. The right guard is Saul Boisel. And the right tackle is Shea Hall. The wide receivers, Matt Credit, Luke Richardson, who we saw score a touchdown earlier in this game. Zane Hart, also another wide receiver. Running back will be Geno Hinton. And the quarterback, Kyle Barrett, 6'4", 200-pound sophomore for the Quakers. 1st and 10. Quakers will begin this drive at their own 25-yard line. Barrett takes the snap. He'll hand on a jet sweep. A run to the 30, about the 34-yard line, and that is a decent pickup on the play by Ace Taylor. Taylor, a freshman out of the Queen City of Cincinnati.
And that might even be credited as a pass. It looked like it might have been more of a shovel than a handoff, but either way, like you said, a jet sweep there for Taylor, and able to get quite a few yardage there, turning the corner. He wasn't even touched till after he crossed the 30.
That was a gain of 9 on that last play, so now it's 2nd and 1. Quakers at their 34-yard line. Barrett is in the shotgun with 3 wideouts, 2 to the far side, 2 to the near side. Actually, it's a 4-wide set. Barrett will now go back to throw. He's looking to go deep. He'll throw it up, and it is incomplete. Well, Sean Sanders Jr. was in on the coverage as Barrett was trying to hook up with Ace Tyler.
Yeah, and again, it was one-on-one coverage there on the outside, and Taylor even kind of pushed off on Saunders on the outside. And fortunately for Capital, the throw just kind of sailed over everybody. And Taylor, by the way, was credited with a run. It was not a pass on that last play before throwing it downfield to him. So he's been busy.
Yep, so now it's 3rd and 1. Quakers still at their own 34-yard line. Barrett, 3 wide receiver set, 2 to the far side, 1 to the near side, and he's flanked by a couple tailbacks in the gun as well. And he will hand off, and this will be a stop for the Capital defense. Running the football for Wilmington that time was Geno Hinton, but Hinton was stacked up big time. Kobe Swackhammer, amongst other Crusaders, were able to limit him enough, and this will force the Quakers to have to punt.
Yeah, Trey Zimmer, Michael Olofu also in on the stop. A negative play, and after a big electrifying first drive with a 67-yard touchdown pass, they go 3 and out, and Capital have a chance to take a lead here.
So now out to punt the football away is Aaron Johnston. Back to receive the punt for Capital is Antoine Shipp. Kick is away, and it'll be taken at the 30. Fumbled and pounced upon. That wasn't actually Antoine Shipp. Out there was Tanner Wollenberg. He's a freshman defensive back out of New Lexington, Ohio. So Capital is able to maintain possession here as their offense will be coming back onto the field. Let's go ahead and get you updated with some scores around the Ohio Athletic Conference. Second to last week of the regular season. Marietta out to a 7-0 lead over Otterbein with 7:06 remaining in the first quarter. 3:36 left to go in the first quarter at Baldwin Wallace. The Yellow Jackets lead in Ohio Northern 7-3 in that one. And Mount Union already out to a 14-0 lead over Muskingum. 9:36 to play in the first quarter. 1st and 10. Capital at their own 29-yard line. Wibbler will hand off to Dar Stanford. And he will take it out of bounds at the 40-yard line. Decent pickup on the play. And a nifty play call right there, getting Stanford involved from a running standpoint.
Yeah, they've been setting that up. They've been moving Pertusit, moving Stanford into the backfield on these snaps before handing off to Butler. And that's where kind of scripting your plays goes into play there, is obviously they've been setting that up as kind of a decoy. And now you actually go ahead and give it to the receiver.
2nd down, Wibbler will hand off to Butler. He'll go around the corner, and he'll lower the boom at the 45-yard line. Boy, he brought the wood that time against Paris Weathersby, sophomore defensive back out of Cincinnati. What a blow delivered by Evan Butler.
Yeah, and the vision was smart there, too, because the hole in the play design looked like he was supposed to come inside the tackle, and he saw the space outside and just took it and ran with it. Got enough for the marker, and then maybe letting out some aggression from the fumble earlier on that hit.
1st down, as Capital will have it at their own 47-yard line. Wibbler will be in the shotgun. McLeod will be put in motion. They'll fake it to McLeod and give it to Butler, and Butler will take it to the 49-yard line, so just into Wilmington territory as Evan Butler continues to churn out good yards on the ground.
Yeah, he's been a nice little addition here to the run game, which, again, has been struggling mightily this season. Wibbler's actually the team's leading rusher, and he has under 200 yards.
That should give you an idea of how hard it's been for Capital to run the football here in 2018. Gain of 4 in the last play, 2nd and 6. Capital at the Wilmington 49-yard line. 2 receivers to the far side, 1 to the near side. Wibbler is in the shotgun. He'll put Schoonover in motion now. Antoine Shipp is checked in, and he will get a toss. As Shipp got tackled big time right there. Traquez Parks, sophomore defensive back out of Columbus, went to Beechcroft High School here in the Columbus area, bringing him down with force.
Yeah, Shipp is actually the team's leading rusher. That's a running back with 18 carries for 77 yards coming in. A 4.3 yards per carry average, but that comes out to just 9 yards per game.
So now a 3rd and 4 for Capital from the Wilmington 47-yard line. Under 4.5 to play in our first quarter. 7-7 game between Wilmington and Capital. Wibbler will be in the shotgun. 3 wide, all to the far side. Wibbler will go back to throw. Looking downfield. Still looking. It is caught! Caught into Wilmington territory. Derek Barnett will take it inside the 30 before finally being taken down at the 28-yard line. Actually, Wyatt Pertussit, making that catch. Boy, Wyatt Pertussit, 2 touchdown receptions last week against Otterbein, carrying that momentum into this game.
He's becoming a really big option, and he's going to be a big part of this passing game next season with Stanford gone. And he is making his presence felt, a very big target. Came in as just a punter, and now all of a sudden is the 3rd option in this passing attack.
1st and 10, Capital now at Wilmington's 28-yard line. As they continue to drive here, Wibbler, play action, looking downfield, gets Stanford out of the backfield on a wheel route type of play, and he'll take it down to the 21-yard line before eventually being tackled on the play by Traquez Parks.
Yeah, Stanford not much of a secret anymore, so any kind of way you can get him involved, that time out of the backfield.
2nd and 3. Capital now with the Wilmington 21-yard line. Wibbler is in the shotgun. Receiver to each side of the field. Butler, his tailback, right behind him. And put in motion. Wibbler takes a snap. He'll hand off to Butler, and Evan Butler will be tripped up. He'll dive forward to about the 21-yard line, so basically back to the line of scrimmage, setting up a 3rd and short situation.
Yeah, you got about half the yardage they needed there. It's going to be about 3rd and 3. Chris Lee checking back in on the outside. I'm sorry, Cameron Lee checking back in on the outside. Big number 86.
So 3rd and 3, Capital at Wilmington's 21-yard line as we approach 2.5 to play in our first quarter. 7-7 game between the Crusaders and the Quakers. A 5-wide set. Wibbler once again all by his lonesome in the shotgun. 2 to the near side, 3 to the far side. Wibbler takes the snap. Looking downfield. Throws. End zone. It is incomplete. Dar Stanford was the intended target, but Wibbler just threw that one a little too far.
Should be plenty of kicking range here for Middleton from 38 yards, if that's the way they choose to go here.
Pretty ideal conditions weather-wise. Not too strong of a wind blowing here in Burnlor Stadium. Although it looks as though the Capital is going to go for it here offensively.
And this might be one of the situations where they just line up and try to draw Wilmington off sides.
Try to go with the hard count as much as they can.
We'll see, though. They might play for it here.
4th and 3. Capital at the Wilmington 21-yard line. Wibbler will go back to throw. Throw is complete. Lee making the catch for a first down to the 12-yard line.
I mean, he's a big enough target as is when no one's near him. It's pretty hard to miss that route. Good route by Lee. And he went right down. He probably could have got a few more yards, but he's just securing the catch there, making sure he keeps this drive alive for his offense.
Clutch throw right there by Thomas Wibbler, as the Crusaders will have a fresh set of downs. 1st and 10, down to the Wilmington 12-yard line. 2 receivers to the near side, 1 to the far side. Butler is the tailback. Wibbler with the play action, trying to dump it off. Does. Butler inside the 10. He's crunched at the 5-yard line. Still a good pickup on the play. Making the tackle was Traquez Parks.
That double play action there. They fake a handoff, fake a screen. I'm sorry, they fake a handoff and fake a sweep, and then come back with a screen to Butler after the fake. Took a lot of movement to develop that. Still was able to get some positive yardage there, so I would call it a success.
All adds up to a gain of 7 on the play. So now it's 2nd and 3. Capital at the Wilmington 5-yard line.
Wildcat.
Butler will take the snap. He'll fake it. He'll run forward, and he'll be down all the way to the 2-yard line, which is right where the first down marker is. So didn't get into the end zone, but the Crusaders will have a fresh set of downs to work with coming up here as they will move the chains.
Yeah, this is basically that Tim Tebow Gator-heavy formation with 2 running backs in the backfield, jumbo package, and Stanford split wide.
And it looks like they're doing the same thing. Butler dives into the end zone. Touchdown, Capital.
Well, that's new. We like seeing that. Don't really see that formation from Capital too often this season. And Evan Butler, definitely a part of the game plan today. He has been busy. That is his 9th carry already. He now has over 20 yards and a touchdown. I believe his 2nd touchdown of the season on the ground.
2nd rushing touchdown of the day for Capital. Thomas Wibbler had one earlier in this game. So now Blake Middleton will be on for the extra point.
And this team had 6 rushing touchdowns coming into today.
Kick is up. It is good. 7-point lead for Capital. 14-7 in favor of the Crusaders with 52.3 seconds to go in the first quarter. We will step aside for a moment. You're listening to and watching a presentation of Crusaders football here on the Capital Sports Network. .3 seconds remain in our first quarter. A 14-7 lead for Capital after Evan Butler punches it in from 2 yards out. Rushing touchdown for the junior from Dayton, Ohio. And Jimmy, you may mention this before we went to commercial break. Evan Butler's been involved in the offensive game plan today. We've seen some strong running from the junior from the gem city of Dayton, Ohio.
Yeah, obviously he's been impressing, and they put a whole package together for him at the goal line there. And again, 6 touchdowns for this team rushing all season. 4 of them have come from Wibbler, and that was entering today. Now up to 8. Wibbler with 5. Butler now has 2.
So now Middleton will kick it away for Capital. This is a relatively deep kick taken at the 10. And it's fumbled, but picked up. 15, 20. That was an awkward-looking return, to say the least, right there, as Aaron Johnson was the one who was returning the football for the Quakers, who now reappear on the field offensively. Another check of scores around the OAC for you. Marietta leading Otterbein 14-7. Cardinals still looking for their first win in OAC play. A minute 30 remaining in the first quarter. Baldwin Wallace out to a 14-3 lead over Ohio Northern as they're approaching the end of the first quarter of that game. Mount Union out to a 21-0 lead over Muskingum. 6:29 to go in the first quarter of that game. And finally, John Carroll playing host to Heidelberg. We'll get you that score of that game in just a moment. Actually, it's John Carroll 14, Heidelberg nothing. Meanwhile, Wilmington's offense back to work. Rumble down the sideline, 35-40, 45. Hit out of bounds somewhere near the 50-yard line, and that was a very impressive run that time by DJ Chambers, another freshman from Carlisle, Ohio.
Now, this is a very young team, but obviously a lot of different playmakers in this offense. Chambers, not really someone we spotlighted coming into this game because he hasn't done much this season. He has 13 catches, and he has actually their leading rusher,
Play action, Barrett with the catch, and it will be complete. Shaking off a couple of tacklers before going down at the 45-yard line. Looks like that was Zane Hart, perhaps. Actually, I think that was Ace Taylor,
And my mistake, Chambers is the running back that we did spotlight in that pregame show. Their leading rusher with 419 yards this season. He averages 5 yards a carry and 3 touchdowns, and we have an injured Crusader here with 5 seconds left in the period.
That is Kobe Swackhammer, sophomore defensive tackle out of Sunbury, Ohio, and he's lying flat on his back. Didn't really see what he was grabbing at, but right now the medical staff for Capital is examining what what is going on with him. 5.7 seconds remain in the first quarter. Keeping it here at Primort Field at Bernlohr Stadium. Capital 14, Wilmington 7. Alongside Jimmy Bloomfield, I'm Charlie Danis. This is Capital Football here on the Capital Sports Network. A beautiful day, senior day, 17 seniors honored before today's game for Capital. The Swackhammer is able to come to his feet, and he'll be walking off under his own power. Let's hope that young man is A-OK. Capital would like nothing more than to send the seniors out with a win and make it 2 straight wins as well after getting their first win of the season last week at Otterbein.
Yeah, I want to finish strong, get that momentum moving into next year. And 1, get your seniors some wins, and 2, kind of start developing some targets for next season. We're seeing a lot of that with Pertusit and with Lee as well in this offense. Evan Butler, he'll be back next season. Obviously an emphasis to get them involved.
And Wilmington trying to run one more play before the end of the first quarter, but they're not able to get it off in time. At the end of 1, Capital 14, Wilmington 7. You're listening to and watching a presentation of Crusaders football here on the Capital Sports Network.
Cap 14, Fighting Quakers 7.
Let's start action in the second quarter. Capital leading Wilmington 14-7 here on Senior Day. Charlie Danis, Jimmy Bloomfield joining you today from a beautiful Bexley, Ohio. Sun is shining. A lot of white puffy clouds overhead. Perfect fall afternoon for the game of football. Meanwhile, Barnett and the rest of the Quakers offense back onto the field. It's a run up the middle, and another impressive run that time by DJ Chambers as he takes it straight up the gut down to the Capital 35-yard line. First down, Quakers.
And Chambers ripped off 28 on that first carry. Now picks up a first down with this one. He's going to come off for Johnston here to spell him.
So it's 1st and 10. The ball was actually spotted at the 34-yard line of Capital, as Barnett will set himself up in the shotgun. 2 receivers to the far side, 1 to the near side. Barnett takes a snap. He'll hand off once again to Johnson. And Johnson's going to be ridden down at the 31-yard line, making the tackle on the play. Looks like Trey Zimmer was able to bring him down that play.
They brought Chambers back in. They had him off on the sideline, and Chambers apparently snuck back onto the field. Now Johnston is in the slot to the right. They're going to empty out the backfield potentially here with Barrett. Has a tight end to his left now.
Gain of 3 on the last play, 2nd and 7. Wilmington at the Capital 31-yard line. Barrett once again on the shotgun. Tight bunch formation for a 4-wide set. Barrett back to throw. Complete to the 27-yard line, to the 25. And making the catch for Wilmington was Zane Hart, 5'8", 160-pound sophomore.
Interesting formation. You got a backup running back in the slot, and then you've got Christian Pointer, who's basically a fullback, just picking up any kind of late push there from anybody on the Crusaders blitzing. And it's just a quick outside pass. This is a design play. They're going to come out in the same formation again, move Pointer to the right now of Barrett.
1st and 10. Wilmington at the Capital 23-yard line. It's another handoff. And another good run inside the 15, inside the 10. With the carry that time was Christian Pointer. Pointer, a freshman from Blanchester, Ohio.
And Pointer doesn't run often, 30th carry of the season, but he's averaging a solid 3.1 yards per carry, 15 yards is his longest rush on the year. And obviously the Crusaders not really expecting him to run there. I certainly wasn't. Just mentioned he was in there to block and pick up a blitz, and all of a sudden they give it to him on a handoff.
So now it's 1st and goal for the Quakers from the Capital 8-yard line. Barrett in the shotgun. 3 wide receiver set, 2 to the near side, 1 to the far side. And Barrett will hand off inside the 20. Another run play. This run game has been looking pretty good so far for the Quakers, as looks like Aaron Johnson was able to take that one down there. Actually, DJ Chambers, with the carry, down to the 3-yard line.
Spencer Smith coming on here as an extra lineman up front now, replacing Seelig on the second down snap here.
Second and goal from the Capital 3-yard line. Barrett once again on the shotgun. 2 receivers to his left, 1 to his right. In at tailback is Chambers. Barrett will hand to Chambers. Chambers will get into the end zone. Touchdown, Quakers.
Excellent kick-out block there by Gio Hinton, leading the way on a counter give off tackle, and a fantastic drive for Chambers. One of the Quakers is down, by the way.
At the 5-yard line.
And it might have been Hinton.
Yeah, I think it was. I think I saw a 4 on the back of that jersey.
And he had an excellent kick-out block there, but might have injured himself in the process of making that block.
Hinton, a 5'9", 190-pound senior who hails from Maple Heights, Ohio. We'll take a quick timeout while they attend to Hinton. Well, actually, I take that back. Hinton now being helped. And, oh, boy.
He might have got his foot caught because he is not putting a lot of weight on his left foot. Starting to walk a little bit better on it now. I think he's going to be okay. How about that drive for Chambers running, Charlie? He had 5 carries on the drive, 50 yards and a touchdown. All of that damage done on that possession there.
I got to tell you, both offenses have looked pretty sharp today. Capital capping off a couple drives with rushing touchdowns by Evan Butler and Thomas Wibbler. Meanwhile, it was Wilmington who got off to the fast start thanks to the touchdown reception by Luke Richardson. And then moments ago, the rushing touchdown that ties this game at 14 after the extra point is good. Quick timeout, 12:27 left to play in the second quarter. Wilmington and Capital, not at 14 here on the Capital Sports Network.
27 seconds to go, second quarter.
12:27 remaining in the second quarter. Wilmington and Capital tied at 14. Marquez Fuller. Actually, let's see here. DJ Chambers, with that rushing touchdown.
Yeah, his fantastic drive, 10 yards a pop. Started it with a 28-yard carry, just kept that momentum going and puts on the finishing touches as well. Both teams, like you said, Charlie, moving the ball well. 153 yards for Wilmington to this point. Capital has 129 yards. Remember, Wilmington did have a 3-and-out, so Capital kind of is already broken serve, and they got a chance now to take the lead again here.
Meanwhile, kicking things off for Wilmington will be Tyler Butcher. The lefty kicker will send it deep. It'll be taken at the 10-yard line by LaShawn Sanders Jr. 15-20, and Sanders is rocked at the 21-yard line, which is where Capital will begin this drive offensively. Thomas Wibbler so far has been looking pretty sharp, 9-11 through the air for 85 passing yards. Also has 3 carries for 12 yards and a score as well. He's playing his final game here at Bernlohr Stadium, and boy, it seems like Wibbler is breaking records and moving up the charts a little bit. What's the latest milestone for him?
Earlier this season he broke the single season passing game record, throwing for over 500 yards against Marietta. And the total offense and passing yard numbers, he's in the top 5 in both of those statistics.
Wibbler with the play action, looking to go downfield, complete to Stanford at the 30-yard line, and Stanford eventually taken out of bounds at the 30-yard line, so a decent pickup on the play. Gain of 9 as those 2 high school teammates at Ohio Dominican as well, before finally coming to Capital, both Dar Stanford and Thomas Wibbler.
Yeah, Wibbler very well could come back here as a Hall of Famer in Capital history here, and we're kind of witnessing a very special player. We'll see if that happens down the road for Mr. Wibbler, but even had his season cut short to injury. He's only really played for, he could have played for 4 years here, and the numbers would have been even more staggering.
Wibbler back to throw. Looking to go deep, and Stanford not able to make the catch with him step for step defensively was sophomore defensive back Paris Weathersby.
I mean, going back to Wibbler, I mean, the numbers that he's put up in the amount of time, it's just incredible what he could have done with 4 full seasons here at Capital.
He could have rewritten the record book.
Yeah. I mean, he's still on his way to potentially partly doing that. I mean, he only played 7 games his sophomore season, his first year here, only threw for 11 touchdowns in those 7 games. Last year he threw 29 touchdowns in 10 games.
It's a give up the middle, and Butler is going to be stuffed back at the 29-yard line. They had to get it to the 31, and now flags are flying everywhere as a Capital player got involved with a Wilmington player. The Capital player was John Eaton.
Now, hopefully this is going to go Capital's way, because if this is a personal foul against Wilmington and not offsetting, it's going to keep this drive alive.
It's going to be unsportsmanlike against Wilmington. This is going to keep the drive going for Capital.
Yeah, that's
boy, oh boy.
Absolute lack of discipline after getting the stop. Waiting for the official call.
Unsportsmanlike, number 27 of the defense. 15-yard penalty, automatic first down. That is number 27's first occurrence.
Royan Washington, freshman linebacker out of Gahanna, Ohio. Went to Lincoln High School here in the Columbus area. Flagged with the unsportsmanlike penalty. And you got to wonder, is that going to come back and bite the Quakers in this drive? Because they had him stop on 3rd down. 1st and 10 now for the Crusaders at the 44. Let's see if they can take advantage of this newfound opportunity. Wibbler will take the snap. He'll hand off to Butler. Butler is going to be ridden down as making the stop on the play defensively for Wilmington is Kyle Ackley. Things are starting to get a little chippy down there on the field.
Tyler Kingus didn't make the stop, but the safety came flying up the middle, and he clogged everything up, allowing his teammates to come and finish that play up. So a nice job by Kingus, who's not going to get credited with anything for that, but he was the main player that set everything up there.
Loss of 1 on the play, 2nd and 11, Capital at their own 43-yard line. They go 5 wide, 3 to the far side, 2 to the near side. Wibbler once again in the shotgun. Wibbler will now go back to throw. Quick strike, caught by Butler, but he's immediately taken down at the 48-yard line.
He's taking some big hits. That was Triquez Parks with the big hit that time.
We have called his name quite a few times, haven't we?
Yes. 2 key number ones, one on the offense, obviously Barrett, the quarterback, and Parks is a very key defensive back for them. They're both sophomores.
So now it's 3rd and 6. Capital at their own 48. They have to get it to the Wilmington 46 in order to convert. Wibbler with 3 wide receivers to work with. Wibbler in the gun, still awaiting the snap. Now he takes it. He'll go back to throw. He will throw to Butler, and Butler dropped it. If Butler makes that catch, he's not only got the first down, but a pretty big gain as well. But instead, Capital will have to punt the football away.
Great play call there by Coach. Knowing that blitz was coming, just kind of leaked Butler out instead of having to pick up the blitz. They just leak him out.
So now, back to punt for Capital is Cameron Lee. Usually that spot is manned by Wyatt Pertusit.
Could be something up here.
We'll just have to see. Back to receive for Wilmington is Thomas Westmoreland. Lee, meanwhile, will get it away, and it's actually a pretty good punt.
Wow.
Westmoreland will not have any of it. Well, actually, he made the catch, but he immediately made the gesture fair caught at the 10-yard line. And Wilmington fans are pretty upset by that because usually it's the arm over the head that means fair catch.
Yeah, the lateral, just no kill it kind of formation, that's usually directed at a teammate to watch out for the ball, and no one touch it really. And like you said, Charlie, he never really went above his head with any kind of fair catch. Capital's defense did kind of let up, and that was going to be a massive return for Richardson, who's just left shaking his head.
So now it's 1st and 10. Wilmington, instead of having good field position, is backed up all the way to its 9-yard line.
What a punt from Lee. I mean, that was a good booming kick, and maybe with Pertusit being more involved with the passing game and Barnett being out, they turned to a different punter.
I'm just starting to like Cam Lee more and more. Meanwhile, back to the run game Wilmington goes. And another impressive run that time by DJ Chambers. Boy, Wilmington, for as tough a season that they've had in 2018, Jimmy, it looks as though that they got some young players they can build their offense around in the coming years.
It's just sophomore after freshman after sophomore right now. A lot of underclassmen involved. And just really not a lot of seniors really mixed in at all on their roster in terms of their skill position players offensively.
So now it's 2nd and 4. Wilmington at their own 14-yard line. Once again, Barrett is in the shotgun. 4 wide receiver set. And Barrett will simply run it forward. And he'll try to pick up a couple yards, but he'll be marked down at the 15-yard line, so only a gain of 1. And boy, things are just starting to get more and more chippy between both of these teams. The Wilmington Capital series, from a rivalry standpoint, not on par with Otterbein, but these teams like to get after it every once in a while.
Yeah, I mean, usually for both teams, it's one of the more winnable games in conference play, so it's kind of a big game that both teams need as part of a successful season, and they both understand that.
3rd and 3, Wilmington at their own 15. Barrett back to throw. Looking, and it's complete. This will be enough for a Wilmington first down, as making the catch was Ace Taylor. We've seen a couple nice plays by Ace Taylor today. Second
leading receiver on the team. He has the most catches. Just wanted to go back to that point on the youth of this Wilmington team. Just went through their entire two-deep, and they have 4 seniors listed. Their right guard, a defensive end, and Gio Hinton, a running back, is listed as a starting running back, but really he's more of a blocking back, as the tailback is the more rushing position, and they have a sophomore and a freshman listed there. Chambers obviously doing the bulk of the running today. So, I mean, that just goes to tell you right there, both sides of the ball, very young team.
1st and 10. Quakers at their own 22-yard line. Barrett will throw. Taylor making the catch once again. He'll be rushed out of bounds around the 25-yard line. 7:44 remaining in our second quarter. Wilmington and Capital tied at 14. And already this kind of has the feel of a game of whoever gets the ball last probably
How
win
many
the game.
times have we said that this season, too? And
absolutely.
it's come down to that again. And Capital got a win. Not having the ball last week, but boy, it came down to a play at the 1-yard line.
Capital looking for their second straight win after beating Otterbein last week. Meanwhile, Barrett hands it to Taylor, and Taylor will be swallowed up by the Capital defense. Leading the Crusaders defensively that time was Jake Blaisdell, freshman defensive lineman out of West Unity, Ohio.
Not sure if Swackhammer is going to come back in the game, but he has rejoined his teammates at least on the sideline after getting checked out in the locker room, so that's good to see him out there moving around with the injury earlier.
3rd and long situation now for Wilmington as they spot the ball at the Quaker 25-yard line. 3rd and 6. Under 7 minutes to play in the second quarter. Wilmington and Capital tied at 14. 2 receivers to each side of the field and another 4 wide set for the Quakers. In that tailback for Wilmington is DJ Chambers. Barrett, meanwhile, will go back to throw. And the pass is complete to the 30-yard line, but it'll be short for the Quakers that time. Making the catch for the Quakers was number 84, Matt Credit, junior wide receiver from Waynesville, Ohio. Luke Credit, his brother, was the quarterback for Wilmington last year.
5 touchdowns for Luke Credit in this game last year. One of the more talented quarterbacks in the OAC last season. Wilmington's lining up to go for it here at their own 30.
Boy, this is a gutsy call right here by Wilmington head coach Brian Moore. So 4th down, Wilmington has to get it to their own 32 in order to convert.
Maybe just trying to draw him off.
Capital almost went off sides, but Capital was able to hold its water. And now a timeout is going to be taken by Wilmington. We'll take a timeout as well. 5:55 remaining in the second quarter. Capital 14, Wilmington likewise here on the Crusaders Sports Network.
At this time, we would like to thank the following sponsors for their support of Capital Athletics. Blank's Cafe. Dill's Greenhouse. 2 Men in a Truck Moving Company. And Donato's Pizza. We thank you for your support of Capital Athletics.
One shot, one opportunity.
5:55 remaining in the second quarter. Capital and Wilmington tied at 14. Moments ago, the Quakers tried to draw the Crusaders offside on a 4th and short play, but that didn't work, so they were forced to spend a timeout, and now the Quakers will be punting the football away.
And there's been a lot of shifts in football towards going for it in more aggressive 4th down situations than normal. Finish that point after the punt here.
Tanner Wollenberg is back to receive the punt for Capital. Punt is away for Wilmington. Wollenberg retreating back to his 21-yard line, making the catch, and he's immediately swarmed back at the 20. Let's see here. They're going to officially mark him at the 22. At least that's where he started. Going to have to see where they spot him as Capital gets set to begin another offensive drive. By the way, folks, I want to remind you, coming up, we will have for you the Marriott Columbus Airport halftime show. There was a lot of stuff that took place for Capital earlier this week for the men's and women's soccer programs, the men's basketball team playing their exhibition game last night at the University of Dayton. And, of course, we'll talk about the stats from the first half, get you updated with scores around the OIC. All of that coming up on the Marriott Columbus Airport halftime show. Meanwhile, Capital will start 1st and 10 at their own 21-yard line. And Wibbler with the play action. He will throw. It is complete to Cory Heater. Heater able to evade a tackler, spins his way across the 25, down to the 27-yard line.
Yeah, I think later in this game, if it was in the 4th quarter, maybe we see Wilmington go for it there, even though it is tied. That's kind of that new shift we've been seeing with Coach McVay of the Rams and in the NFL kind of making headlines with it. Mike Vrabel as well from Tennessee going for it in a similar situation. There's just kind of this new shift that your offense has a good chance of picking up a first down there, and even if they don't, there's still some likelihood your defense could get you a stop. So that's where that kind of comes into play. But here in the 2nd quarter, I think way too early to go for it.
2nd down, Wibbler with a run up the middle, and look at Wibbler picking up the first down across the 35 down to the 38-yard line. Just tucking and running.
Yeah,
man.
He was standing up tall there as he came through, too. He probably took a nice hit to the chest and the rib area, which is not going to feel good tomorrow, but a good tough run from your quarterback. And again, it's with 2 games left in the season, you can afford to take bigger hits with your quarterback. Obviously, this is game 1. You don't want Wibbler taking hits like that. Similar kind of thought by having Heater get a little more snaps than normal potentially.
So now it's 1st and 10. Capital at their own 38-yard line. Looking to regain the lead here before halftime as we tick under 4.5 to play in the first half. Butler with a catch. 40, 45, across the 45, down to the 48-yard line, and that'll be enough for a Crusaders first down.
Yeah, I like what Coach Rogaszewski has done here. He's realized that his offense has not done a good job running the football. So how can he get these more safer plays like a running play? And it seems to be a lot of flares out of the backfield for Butler. We saw a wildcat formation from Butler end up in a touchdown after a few plays. And just trying to get creative in obviously the traditional running that he wants to do is not working. And it's smart to change things up, you know. There's 2 games left in the season. If it's not working, it's probably not going to work at this point. So do something different. That's exactly what we've seen.
1st and 10, Capital at their own 48-yard line as they are continuing to drive here. And now a timeout. Looks like it's going to be taken. Timeout will be taken by Capital. We'll pause as well. 3:48 remaining in our first half. Wilmington and Capital tied at 14 here on the Capital Sports Network.
At this time, we would like to thank the following sponsors for their support of Capital Athletics. Pepsi, the Capital University ROTC, and the Marriott at the Columbus Airport. We thank you for your support of Capital Athletics.
.348 remaining in the first half. Capital and Wilmington tied at 14. Alongside Jimmy Bloomfield, I'm Charlie Danis. You're listening to and watching a presentation of Crusaders football here on the Capital Sports Network. Our last broadcast of the 2018 season. The Crusaders, they will conclude the season next week at Muskingum, taking on the Muskies in the 2018 regular season finale. Thomas Wibbler, meanwhile, is in the shotgun, trying to lead his Crusaders to a win here on Senior Day. It'll be a fake, and Wibbler will run into Quaker territory down at the 49-yard line. Taken down on the play by Traquez Parks.
And where this play is set up here, you're at midfield, 3.5 minutes left. So you do want to work some clock here as well so that this is the last possession of the half. And if Capital can come away with any points, they'll take a lead in the locker room and get the ball to start off the next half.
2nd and 7. Wibbler in the shotgun. As Wibbler will now look to the sideline for some guidance. And now there's whistles everywhere as now we have to reset the play clock. Well, now we should be good to go. 2 receivers to the near side, 1 to the far side.
They're going to take their time, like I said here, use some clock.
Taking under 3 minutes to play here in the first half. Capital and Wilmington tied at 14. Wibbler still waiting for the snap. Play clock under 5. Wibbler with the play action now. Downfield, caught by Stanford inside the 40, down to the 38-yard line. Clutch catch right there by Stanford as he's taken down on the play by Wilmington's Tyler Kingus.
Stanford averages 13 yards a catch this season, and today he's averaging about 8. It just kind of speaks to that different kind of offense we've seen from Capital, working more in the intermediate passing game and the short passing game than we've been a typical that we've seen typically. And a lot of that is because they're usually in 3rd and long situations, and today they haven't need to throw it downfield on 3rd and 3, on 2nd and 6. You can go to the short passing game.
They've been able to stay on schedule. 1st and 10. Capital at the Wilmington 39. Wibbler scrambling around, throws, and it is intercepted. Intercepted at the 10-yard line. Wibbler threw that one into double coverage, and Traquez Parks is able to come up with the pick. He was trying to find Connor McLeod down there, but it was in double coverage, and Parks makes the big play for the Quakers.
Yeah, I think that's one you just throw away there. Wibbler had time. Excellent blocking up front, and just couldn't get it to his man there. And it looks like Capital's offense is staying on the field. Maybe there was an offsides that we didn't see, which would make a little bit more sense as to why Wibbler's throwing the ball downfield in that kind of a situation. Let's see what the call is here.
Holding. Defense number 28. 10 yards.
So let's give him more credit. He clearly saw that there was a flag down on the defense, and that's why Wibbler throws it up into coverage. I was going to say, that's really not characteristic of how Thomas has been playing today and even in his career, really. So we missed the flag. That's on us, and clearly Wibbler saw that, tried to throw it downfield, had a free play essentially.
So now it's 1st and 10. Capital at the Quaker 29-yard line. 2:02 remaining in our first half. Capital and Wilmington tied at 14.
And I think Parks has answered the question, though. We don't want to throw at him when we don't need to. Even in a free play situation, he comes up and makes a big play for his defense. Doesn't result in anything, but that's not a matchup that Capital's looking to pick on.
Wibbler in the shotgun. Takes the snap. Back to throw. Throws, and Stanford not able to make the catch that time. And now flags are everywhere.
Yeah, we see a flag in the backfield here, and then one from the top of the field threw a flag as well. It's the same call.
Holding against Capital.
So that'll back us up a little bit. Stanford didn't see Wibbler try to throw that short. If Stanford turns around and is able to see that throw is coming in short, he would have had an easy big gain inside the 15. It would have been wiped down anyway.
Waiting the call here.
Offense number 78. 10 yards. 1st down.
Ben Dews, the left tackle. Whistled for the holding penalty. And now it'll back it up to the Quaker 39-yard line, setting up a 1st and 20 for the Capital offense. 4 wide receivers, 3 to the far side, 1 to the near side, and Dar Stanford. Man put in motion now, that being Cory Heater. Wibbler will go back to pass, throws, caught by Stanford. 35, spinning his way down to the 32-yard line, so he gets a little bit of that yards back.
Yeah, that was a jailbreak screen there, so it was designed for all that pressure to come at Wibbler. He holds in there long enough.
Cam Lee now checking back in offensively as Cory Heater will head to the Capital bench.
They've been spreading him out wide now, kind of filling David Barnett's role. Missed the Otterbein game, not here today as well. Looking for some options outside of Stanford.
2nd and 13, Capital at the Wilmington 32-yard line. Stanford put in motion once again. He'll be split out to the far side. Wibbler back to throw. Still looking, evades some pressure, throws, and it's caught at the 21-yard line. As Stanford is able to make the catch, and now Capital 1 yard away from keeping this drive going. 3rd and short coming up.
It's already 8 first-half catches for Stanford. And he has about 60 yards on those 8 catches. And normally if Stanford has 8 catches, he's well into the hundreds.
And now a timeout taken by Capital. Stops the clock with 46.9 seconds remaining here in our first half. Again, a reminder, coming up, we will have for you the Marriott Columbus Airport halftime show. We will review what was a very busy week for Capital Athletics involving the soccer programs as well as the men's basketball team who played their exhibition game down at the University of Dayton last night. Look at the stats for the first half, check scores around the OAC, and much, much more. Coming up on the Marriott Columbus Airport halftime show. What should the strategy be for Capital offensively going forward here, Jimmy?
Yeah, you're going to start to see them come a little bit faster here in terms of pace now because we're under 50 seconds. Even if you don't get – obviously it's 3rd down here, so if you get the drive and keep it moving, then you're going to see this pace continue. I think if you don't pick this up here, we did see them go for a 4th and short earlier, but it just makes sense to me to try to get a field goal. Like you said, excellent kicking conditions. There is basically no wind. Bright and sunny day. Turf's in good shape. Got a lot of rain here a few days ago. Actually canceled the soccer game that we were talking about there that we'll touch on at halftime. They had to play last night. So, I mean, if you don't get this first down, I think you take the field goal. If not, you're going to see Capital with a little bit more pace here probably if they pick it up.
3rd and 2, Capital at the Wilmington 21-yard line. 4 wide receiver set. Wibbler once again goes back to throw. Catch is made by Dar Stanford at the 15-yard line, but didn't get out of bounds. So Capital's going to have to hurry up here. They still have 1 timeout remaining.
They might just spike it here.
Clock restarts. Wibbler takes the snap, and he will spike it.
Yeah, I mean, they only lost about 5 seconds there because the clock does momentarily stop. But like you said, Charlie, Stanford kind of gave himself up there and probably could have taken a few extra steps and gotten out. And I don't know if you even needed to spike it there and give up a play. If you have 2 play calls, especially coming out of a timeout, I think if you pick up the first down, you have to have that second play ready and just get back into that formation and run another play.
So now it's 2nd and 10. Capital at the Wilmington 15-yard line, 41.8 seconds to go in our first half. Wibbler with a 4 wide receiver set, 3 to the near side, 1 to the far side. Wibbler will go back to throw, looking, still looking. Now he's running, and he will get out of bounds around the 11-yard line. Stopping the clock, still picking up some yards, however.
Yeah, and they can pick up a first down here without scoring a touchdown. So if they do so, you'll likely see them spike it again on first down and give themselves 2 shots while saving a timeout at getting the touchdown. At this point, though, well within field goal range for Middleton. And that's got to be the top priority. Don't throw something into traffic that's unnecessary, especially here on 3rd and 7. If you don't get the first down, you still get yourself a field goal. So just make a safe throw here on 3rd down.
Capital 12 yards away from pay dirt. 2 receivers to each side of the field. Wibbler back to pass once again, trying to evade some pressure.
Just get rid of it.
Going to the right, throwing, and it's incomplete. It'll be out of bounds.
And he did. Yeah, I mean, you just got to get rid of it there. Know the situation. Know that you've got 3 points waiting if you don't pick up the first down.
So now Blake Middleton will come out. Middleton has not been asked to kick all that much this season from a field goal standpoint, but he's got an opportunity here. But Capital ahead by 3.
He's 4 for 6 this season, Charlie. Sorry for cutting you off there. With a 35% or 35 long, 67% obviously with the 4 for 6. So this would be well within his range.
Snap back, hold down, kick is up. Middleton able to knock it through. That gives Capital a 17-14 lead with 23.3 seconds to go in the first half. Nice job by Capital driving down the field and putting Middleton in a position to succeed.
And they kill a lot of clock on that drive as well. 5 minutes and 20 seconds came off the clock. Wilmington has 23 seconds now to try to get something going offensively. If they don't get a big return, we probably won't see them do much at all before the end of the half. Capital gets the ball to start the half. And it's a winning formula right now. If they're able to score a touchdown coming out of the locker room, they could give themselves a 2-possession lead moving into the middle part of the third quarter. So everything's going according to plan. That was a perfectly executed drive. You'd love to get a touchdown there, but in that situation, 3 points just as big as 6.
So Capital getting set for the kickoff. Do you kick it deep here, Jimmy? Do you?
Yeah, I would. I mean, the squib kick on that first play did not go well from Middleton. And I think you just have him kick it deep here and trust your coverage. But we're going to see him squib it, I think. Still 2 timeouts for Wilmington as well, so they've got some playmakers on the outside. You don't want them starting around the 40-yard line.
Middleton elects to kick it deep. This will actually be a short kick, taken up the 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, and bounced out of bounds somewhere around the 40-yard line.
They used a lot of time, though, Charlie.
DJ Chambers in on the return there.
There's only 15 seconds left now. That was a 9-second return. Definitely effective, don't get me wrong, but it ate up a lot of clock as well. And Wilmington has time for maybe 2 plays and then a Hail Mary.
They do have 2 timeouts to work with as well. So let's see what Wilmington elects to do here.
Wilmington's kicker, by the way, I mean, this is Division III, so you don't really see 50-yarders anytime commonly, but their kicker, Butcher, does have a 43-yarder this season. So that's probably your target line is going to be in between the 25 and 30-yard line on the other side of the field if you're going to try a long field goal.
1st and 10, Quakers at their own 42. Barrett will go back to pass. He'll heave a deep ball. It is incomplete.
A lot of contact.
Jordan Duncan was in on the coverage that time, batted the ball away, and he was able to do a nice job that time on Luke Richardson.
And Richardson scored a touchdown on that same play, first snap of the game for Wilmington. And if you take that first snap away, Charlie, I mean, they have had 7 points. Credit Capital's defense for playing well after the initial blow there on the first play. You're going to see him take another deep shot here probably, or maybe even try to get maybe 5 or 6 yards to set up a shorter throw for a Hail Mary with 9 seconds left.
9.5 seconds remaining in our first half. Barrett will take a deep drop once again. Looking downfield, lets it go. It is, was that caught?
Should be an interception.
And it is going to be an interception.
Yeah.
Yes, what a great play right there by Cade McCaskey. Playing center field that time. They were once again trying to get the ball to Luke Richardson, but McCaskey comes up with a big defensive play.
Yeah, that could have gone either way. It could have been that simultaneous catch, but really McCaskey had it controlled, went to the ground, and then it was Lawrence trying to wrestle it away, Richardson trying to wrestle it away from him after McCaskey had already established that he was the one that caught that ball. And like you said, Charlie, a big play there because if Richardson catches that, they have plenty of time for a field goal from about 38 yards it would have been to tie the game. Instead, Capital's just going to knee it out and take the lead in the locker room. Nice defensive play there by McCaskey.
So a very good ending to what turned out to be a productive first half. We saw Capital move the ball offensively, and they will go into the locker room with a 3-point lead at halftime. Capital 17, Wilmington 14. Coming up, we will have for you the Marriott Columbus Airport halftime show, talking about the week that was in Capital athletics, as well as a look at the first half stats and more. Marriott Columbus Airport halftime up in mere moments here on the Capital Sports Network.
Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, we would like to direct your attention to the midfield, where your Capital University dance team is entering, led by captains Miss Desiree Bray and Brianna Charles. We would also like to congratulate and send our warmest wishes of luck and thanks to the seniors on the CU dance team. Before they perform, please give it up for seniors Desiree Bray and Amber Reed.
Welcome into the Marriott Columbus Airport halftime show. At the half, it is Capital who leads Wilmington by a score of 17-14 alongside Jimmy Bloomfield. I'm Charlie Danis. Well, Jimmy, before we examine the first half stats and take a look at scores around the OAC, this was a pretty busy week for Capital Athletics involving multiple Crusader sports teams. Let's start with what happened with the men's and women's soccer programs.
Yeah, women's soccer started off the week here on Tuesday. Man, it's been a long week. They had a victory here at home in the OAC tournament semifinal, defeating the 6th seed, and then they advanced to a Thursday game with Otterbein, a team that they had lost in overtime to in the regular season 2-1. Otterbein unbeaten in conference play on the women's side of soccer, and they were able to get the victory at home against Capital on Thursday, a 1-0 win to end Capital women's season more than likely. On the men's side, they were the number 1 seed, had shared the conference with John Carroll, but beat them head-to-head in the regular season. So they were the number 1 seed. They faced the number 5 Ohio Northern team that had upset Otterbein, who won the conference last season in their first game. And then yesterday, Capital got the lead on an early goal from Chewy Gordon in the 20th minute or maybe the 19th minute. And Ohio Northern then came back after Gordon came up injured a few minutes after that. Was a big blow to this Capital team. I mean, Gordon, if you haven't heard, on the men's soccer side, this kid's incredible. He's a senior, so he won't be here next year, but he had 24 goals this season if that's where he ends, which is currently 3rd in the entire nation. A very talented player. He went down with an injury. Capital's offense wasn't able to get any more in. Ohio Northern snuck in a goal with about 20 minutes left. It got very physical the last 5 minutes of that game. There was, on each side, could have been a penalty kick called in the box and a foul on either side. Both were uncalled. It went into double overtime. Ohio Northern got the win. And now for Capital, a 14-4 season, they have a decent chance of getting an at-large bid again. They got one last season to advance to the NCAAs. The selection show is tomorrow afternoon, so stay tuned to NCAA.com, and hopefully the men are able to get a bid into the NCAA tournament, have a chance to make a run again, and hopefully Gordon will be healthy if that's the case, because they're going to need him, Charlie.
So that's what happened with the soccer programs. Meanwhile, Jimmy, men's basketball got the opportunity to play against a Division I program in their exhibition game. They were actually down in my hometown of Dayton, Ohio, taking on the Dayton Flyers, a team that I actually grew up rooting for. They played at UD Arena, which is currently going through a 3-year renovation. That arena has been looking beautiful as of late. And boy, for a D3 team taking on a Division I team, I thought Capital acquitted themselves quite nicely.
Yeah, I had my eye on that last night during the broadcast for the soccer game, and they were hanging in there a good amount. I think it was like a 5-point game at halftime, and some really good individual performances from some of their Crusaders. And like you said, they hung in there pretty well. A late run from the Flyers kind of put it away in the middle part of the second half. But, I mean, anyone expecting Capital to go in there and get a win, frankly, out of their minds, and it was a very good performance from Capital, and I'm sure a great moment for Coach returning to his alma mater.
Damon Goodwin, a former Dayton Flyer, coaching against one of his former teammates, Anthony Grant, who's currently the head coach for the Flyers. Caleb Cox had a double-double with 15 points and 10 rebounds. Joey Weingartner, who is a Centerville native, Centerville a suburb of Dayton, he was able to show out in that game with 20 points, looked good from the perimeter. And, you know, Jimmy, I was talking earlier with Ryan Gasser, Capital Sports Information Director, and some other people here in Capital. I think we could be in for a really good basketball season, both on the men's and women's side here at Capital. Yeah,
I mean, we've seen it. The men's side is very competitive. There's a lot of really good teams, get some national attention as well. And it's the same group of guys that I've been hearing about, the Weingartners, Cox, and Hannah, and Shrek, still all there. So, I mean, these kids have been playing 3 or 4 years in this offense, so you would think year 4, here we go. It's time with all these kids being seniors now. And on the women's side, they're projected to finish second in the conference according to the coaches' poll, which was usually, you know, you see the coaches' poll for, I mean, Charlie, you know this firsthand, it's usually just the reverse standings from the season before. It's pretty much a carbon copy. The poll for the women's thing was so crazy. They had a 4th-place team get a 1st-place vote. One team had a 4th-place, I think it was I believe it was Otterbein, who had 4 first-place votes. at the top. Capital only had one first place vote, but they were second. It's crazy. It just kind of shows you how wide open it is.
Absolutely.
Every coach had a completely different ballot, which you don't see often. And we've been seeing the women had some exhibitions here during some of the soccer games. I've been trying to peek in at halftime of some of those. And again, it's very similar, familiar faces. It's kind of the same vibe from the men's team, just the same kind of group of girls back this season as well. So, like you said, it could be a successful winter. The women don't play here at home until December, so we won't have a good look at them for a few weeks still. The men have a little bit of a busier schedule come November in terms of home events and conference play. December 1st, it starts for both the men and women, so we're almost there already. We're about a month out, so we'll be changing the conversation here to basketball pretty soon.
I'll be bringing you men's basketball action. Jimmy, meanwhile, will be on the call for the women's team, and hopefully it will be a productive basketball season, both on the men's and women's side for Capital University. Quick timeout. We will have more of the Marriott Columbus Airport halftime show coming up in mere moments. At the half, Capital leading Wilmington 17-14. You're listening to a presentation of Crusaders football here on the Capital Sports Network. Welcome into the Marriott Columbus Airport halftime show. And it is Wilmington who trails Capital 17-14 in this one, alongside Jimmy Bloomfield and Charlie Danis. Jimmy, let's now go ahead and get the stats here. First, team stats.
Well, the offense is gone in Capital's favor, but the time of possession of the plays is the thing that jumps out to me. Capital ran 43 plays for 208 yards and controlled the ball for 20 minutes and 17 seconds, 2-to-1 ratio there over Wilmington, who had 175 yards right there with Capital, but ran 23 less plays. So that's a successful half, I would say, for Capital's offense. They lead 17-14, 14 first downs to Wilmington's 6. The one turnover was the interception that was at the end of the half there by McCaskey. Other than that, a pretty clean half on both sides. The rushing totals favoring Wilmington slightly, 78-59. Passing yards favoring Capital, not surprisingly, 149-97. And it's just been a half where Capital's outpossessed. Wilmington ran more plays, kept drives alive. Third down conversions capped 5 for 9. So, and they got a fourth down conversion as well, 3 for 3 in the red zone. Just textbook good drives, no big plays from that Capital offense. The longest play was 19 yards. But other than that, a really successful half.
Individual statistics now. First for Wilmington. 6 carries for 55 yards and a score for DJ Chambers. Pointer with 1 carry for 15 yards. Ace Taylor, 2 carries for 9 yards. And Kyle Barrett, the quarterback, 1 carry for 1 yard. Barrett, meanwhile, 6 of 9 through the air for 97 yards and a score. Receiving, Ace Taylor has 3 catches for 16. Luke Richardson has 1 catch, but it was a big one, 67-yarder that went for a score. Zane Hart, 1 catch for 8. Matt Craig, 1 catch for 6 yards. Meanwhile, for Capital, Thomas Wibbler, 6 carries for 30 rushing yards and a rushing touchdown. Evan Butler, 11 carries for 22 rushing yards and a score. Dar Stanford had 1 rush that went for 6, and Antoine Ship had 1 rush that went for 2. Passing, Thomas Wibbler, 17 of 23 through the air, 149 yards. No passing touchdowns in that first half. Dar Stanford, meanwhile, 8 catches for 65 yards. Evan Butler, 3 for 22. Cameron Lee, 2 for 26. And Connor McLeod, 2 for 11. The scoring summary here real quick for you. Wilmington started this game with a bang when Kyle Barrett hooked up with wide receiver Luke Richardson for 67 yards. That gave Wilmington a 7-0 lead 18 seconds into the game. Then Thomas Wibbler, he led Capital on a successful drive, culminating with an 11-yard touchdown run. That tied the game at 7 with 8:07 left to play in the first quarter. Capital then took its first lead of the game thanks to a 2-yard rushing touchdown by Evan Butler. That came with 52 seconds remaining in the first quarter. And then on to the second quarter, Wilmington, with a 3-yard touchdown run by DJ Chambers. That tied the game at 14 with 12:27 to play, but then with 23 seconds to go in the first half, Blake Middleton knocking a field goal through from 28 yards out, giving Capital a 17-14 lead, which is currently where we stand right now. And speaking of scores, let's check some other scores around the Ohio Athletic Conference. They're at the half at Otterbein. Marietta leading the Cardinals in that one 14-7. Baldwin Wallace all over Ohio Northern 35-10 as they are getting set to play action in the third quarter of that one. Muskingum down big to Mount Union 28-3 as they're getting close to start the second half of that game at Muskingum. And finally, John Carroll 21-0 lead over Heidelberg. They are just about to begin play in the third quarter. And another score update for you from the Division I ranks right now. 10th ranked Ohio State heading into the fourth quarter, leading the unranked Nebraska Cornhuskers 30-21 in that game. You know, Jimmy, real quick, because this is our last football broadcast, if you had to choose the 4 teams making the playoff, who would they be?
Still got a whole month here. There's so many games left. But, I mean, Bama and Clemson, I'd be stupid to not pick either of those 2 teams. And then it's kind of wide open again. And I do think we're going to get a second SEC team in. It's probably going to be Georgia if I had to guess. And I would say Oklahoma gets the last spot. And there we are again with the same 4 teams. But, I mean, it depends. If Michigan beats Ohio State, I think they're going to get in. If Notre Dame wins out, they still got a couple of tough games left as well. And I think they will falter to someone. But I just don't see Michigan beating Ohio State. Big homer call probably.
Yeah,
and that allows me to come back to the same 4 teams that were in it last year. So I hope it's different. It'd be nice to see different teams in there. And even as an Ohio State fan, I wouldn't really mind seeing Michigan in there just to get kind of a new team involved in the mix. But at the expense of the Buckeyes.
I was going to say, if you're rooting for something like that,
well, definitely not rooting for it. But I mean, as a college football fan, you don't want to see the same 4 teams in it every single year. That's not fun.
Back to our game now as Wilmington will kick things off here in the second half. Capital will get the ball first offensively with a 3-point lead. Capital 17, Wilmington 14. And the second half is underway. The kick will be taken by LaShawn Sanders Jr., and he will simply knee it down in the end zone. This will go down as a touchback. The Crusaders coming off of a win over Otterbein last week, looking to notch their second straight win. More importantly, get a win for 17 seniors that were honored before today's game, and they look to be in good shape. The way the offense was controlling time of possession, Jimmy, keeping drives alive, getting some key plays, particularly on third down, that's a recipe for success.
Yeah, I think you go right back to it here, keep the short passing game going, see if you can get some more out of Butler on the ground, maybe go back to that Wildcat a little bit too.
So now 1st and 10. Capital at their own 25, and now whistles are blowing everywhere, apparently. Looks like there might be a clock issue of some sort. They will reset the game clock to 15 minutes. Apparently 4 seconds had ticked off it accidentally.
Sanders doing the kickoff duties on the last few. I think it's because it's his senior day. He hasn't had a kickoff return all season. Kind of weird to see him back there, but maybe just something he wanted to do.
Sun starting to come out here on this lovely fall day. The foliage around us turning different colors. Oh, fall is just such a beautiful season, especially when no rain is involved. Wibbler will throw, and Butler will make the catch, and boy, he's immediately slammed at the 26-yard line. Making the tackle on the play for Wilmington was Royan Washington. He came in there like a heat-seeking missile.
And Washington picked up a pretty big penalty earlier, had the unsportsmanlike conduct on a third down that kept the Capital drive alive. It didn't turn out getting into any points, but from a field position standpoint, it did matter and was part of the reason Capital was able to get a field goal at the end of the half.
2nd and 9. Capital at their own 26-yard line after the 1-yard gain by Butler. Wibbler once again on the shotgun, working with 3 wide receivers. He'll now go back to pass. Looking, and it's incomplete. That ball might have been tipped at the line of scrimmage right there as he was trying to find Antoine. That might have been Jaden Giatino out of the backfield.
It was Washington again, by the way, who came in. Royan Washington.
I take that back. Dylan Schoonover was the intended target.
Washington knocking it down. 3rd and 9. We haven't seen Capital in this situation very often.
For the most part, they've been able to stay on schedule, Jimmy, but not the case right here.
Yeah, we'll see what happens here. 3rd and long. I would imagine Stanford's going to be targeted here.
Wibbler in the shotgun, 3 wideouts to the far side on this 3rd and 9 from the Capital 26-yard line. Wibbler awaiting the snap, takes it, drops back, surveying the field, throws, it is caught! And, McLeod had it, he bobbled it, and he dropped it. Boy, that is a classic case of thinking about what you are wanting to do with the ball before actually making the catch. And boy, McLeod has got to be kicking himself right now, because if he makes that catch, that probably goes for a touchdown.
Yeah, I don't know. His momentum wasn't carrying him, but he's a quick guy. At the very least, first down, maybe 30, 40 yards before he's touched. Boy, that's a big drop.
So now Capital will have to punt the football away, and once again, it is Cam Lee who comes on. And Lee with another decent punt right here.
Good bounce, come on.
And this will bounce inside the 35, but it'll be touched up at about the 33-yard line as Luke Richardson was back there to receive the punt for Wilmington. 1 minute gone by here in the third quarter. Capital 17, Wilmington 14. Charlie Danis, Jimmy Bloomfield joining you from Promort Field at Burnlore Stadium. Beautiful fall day here in Bexley, Ohio. Our final football broadcast of the 2018 campaign, and Capital looking to send their 17 seniors out in style, as now Wilmington's offense will come back onto the field after their defense forces a big stop to begin the second half. Barrett is in the shotgun. 2 wideouts to the far side. One to the near side. Barrett only a sophomore. A lot is expected of this young man the next couple of years. Barrett with a throw out of the backfield, and once again, it's DJ Chambers going to work offensively across the 35 down to the 38-yard line. Sun continues to fade in and out here at Bernlohr Stadium as there are a lot of clouds overhead. But it is certainly a departure from the yucky weather that we had earlier this week. Lots and lots of rain, but luckily here at Vermont Field, this field drains pretty well, so no need to worry about mud or puddles or any of that stuff. As now flags are going to fly all over the place, and I feel like this is going to be against Wilmington. It will be a false start against the Quakers.
Yeah, I mean, even with the field surface, they still had to push back the soccer game from Thursday to Friday, which gives you an idea of how much it rained. I mean, like you said, it's turf, you know. I remember telling some people around work, I'm like, oh, my game got pushed back till tomorrow because of all the rain. Everyone, isn't it turf? It is turf, but, I mean, that's how much it rained here in the area. And like you said, we haven't seen any kind of issues with the field surface today. Didn't really run into any last night. Just, like you said, really bad weather at the end of the week this week.
2nd and 10, Wilmington at their own 33-yard line. Barrett will go back to throw. And the pass will be complete to a familiar face, that being Ace Taylor, as he'll be tackled down to the 40-yard line. Setting up a 3rd and manageable situation here for Wilmington.
His longest catch is 7 yards today. He's made 4 for 23. Been heavily targeted. He also has a 9-yard carry, but he really just hasn't had that big playmaking play that they're looking for him.
So now it's 3rd and 3.
Yeah, Richardson hasn't done anything since the touchdown either. He had the 67-yard catch and then had a pass to him go over his head, and then the next one was intercepted at the end of the half.
Other than that big play at the beginning of the game, he's been a virtual no-show so far. 3rd and 3. Barrett back to throw. And it is caught by Taylor, and Taylor will have enough for the first down. You thought that it was incomplete.
I thought so, maybe not. No, I thought he was stopped short, but he caught it right at the stick. Really good play. El Said didn't let him get anything after the catch, and he got right to the 44-yard line where he needed to.
1st and 10. Wilmington will now have it at their own 44-yard line. 12-15 and counting in the 3rd quarter. Capital clinging to a 17-14 lead over the Quakers, who, oh, by the way, are still looking for their first win with an OAC play. That other team being Otterbein, who Capital was able to hold on for a victory last week. Chambers with the run. He'll take it to 49. Now the ball might have popped loose, but now they're saying that he is down.
Yeah, he was definitely down.
Ground cannot cause a fumble, and the Quakers are able to retain possession right there. So they'll spot this one basically in midfield. Approaching 11 and a half minutes of play in the 3rd quarter. Capital 17 and Wilmington 14. As Wilmington is just taking their time on offense, not really rushing anything. Boy, this is quite the departure from what we are used to at the college football level.
Their defense needs a breather, being on the field for 20 minutes in that first half.
So now it's 2nd and 4. Ball at midfield. Barrett will throw. Pass is caught, and oh boy, that was a big-time hit. Registered by Cade McCaskey, who ended the first half with an interception.
They say he dropped it.
How about McCaskey? Boy, Capital might have a player in Cade McCaskey. He's a 5'11", 180-pound freshman out of Findlay, Ohio. Played at the same high school that one Ben Roethlisberger played back in his prep days, and I've actually had a chance to call a high school football game up there at that stadium. Very nice facility. So now it's 2nd and 4. Wilmington still has the ball at midfield as Mr. Sun reappears here in Bexley. Barrett takes the snap, back to throw, screen route. That play goes nowhere. Nice tackle in the flat that time by Cole Carter. And now Wilmington will be forced to punt.
And McCaskey, by the way, with that interception earlier, his 2nd of the season. He has 2 of the 3 picks for Capital this season as well. You mentioned he could be a key player defensively next year as well, with a very veteran group in the secondary.
So the punt team is on for Wilmington. And meanwhile for Capital, they will once again send out Tanner Wollenberg, a freshman out of New Lexington, Ohio. back to receive the punt for the Crusaders. And it's a fake. Wilmington will try to pick up the first down, and this one backfires.
Oh, my
now
goodness.
the ball is loose, and it's still loose, and Capital recovers it at the 35-yard line. Boy, what in the world was Wilmington trying to do right there?
I mean, I get the fake call. I guess I don't like it either, but once you're going down, just go down. That lateral very easily could have resulted in a touchdown. There was a flag thrown very early on, too. It might have been an illegal formation anyway. See the call.
Let's check the penalty.
On the offense, number 20.
Illegal
That penalty is
shift.
declined.
So even if it worked, it wouldn't have gone for a first down with the penalty. But then the decision to lateral that ball, I don't know what he was thinking. It only cost them about 5 yards in the end, but
They were trying a little reverse.
almost
in
a
the
read
backfield.
option. Looked like the Fumblerooski play out of the NCAA football game. Just, it didn't work. Whatever they had drawn up, there was too many moving parts. A fake punt has to be quick. It has to catch you off guard, and that split second is what gives you the play. When you're developing 3 fake handoffs in a backfield, it's never going to work.
1st and 10. Capital has it at the Wilmington 34-yard line. 2 receivers to each side of the field. Wibbler once again in the shotgun. Butler on his right hip. Throw complete. Down to the 26-yard line. Making the catch on the play for Capital. Dylan Schoonover.
It's such a different offense from Capital that we've been accustomed to seeing, just this intermediate passing game. And I like it a lot more. Very controlled offense. Not as much boom or bust as it's kind of been for Capital. And possessing the ball.
2nd and 2. Capital at the Wilmington 26-yard line. Crusaders looking to add to their 3-point lead over the Quakers here. 9:42 and counting in the 3rd quarter. Schoonover, 25. And he will run it to about the 21-yard line. This will be a decent pickup. Gain of 5 on the play. And it'll be enough for a Crusader first down.
One more point on the short passing. Wibbler coming into this game, 57% completion percentage. Today's 70%. And it just shows you the difference right there. Making safer throws. And, 6 or 7 yard gains also keep the clock moving just like a run play would.
So now it's 1st and 10. Capital at the Quaker 20-yard line. Capital looking to, capitalize on a turnover by Wilmington after a busted fake punt. Wibbler throws. It is incomplete. Off the fingertips that time of Wyatt Pertusit. That would have been a spectacular catch.
Yeah,
Pertusit would be able to reel it in.
Really bad throw behind Pertusit there. A great effort to come back to that football and almost catch it.
9:02 remain in the 3rd quarter. Capital 17, Wilmington 14. After a turnover by Wilmington, Capital looking to increase its lead, give itself a little more breathing room going forward. 3 receivers to the far side, 1 to the near side as Wibbler sets up in the shotgun. 2nd and 10 from the Wilmington 20. Play action. Wibbler over the middle, and was that picked off? It was. That is going to be a turnover.
I mean, that looked like a trap. And they might have a conference about this and overturn the call. Wibbler.
For right now, it's an interception by Zach Zerfus.
Yep, it's incomplete. That was a trap. It was pretty obvious, too. And an excellent job from our near side official down here in the corner to come in and make the right call. And it's a lot tougher to be a ref at the D3 level. You don't have a fancy replay system to back up a missed call like that.
Quaker fans weren't happy about it here, but the Crusader fans, hey, they'll take it.
And we don't have replay either, we don't have replay either, but I think that did bounce. It didn't look right. It was kind of an awkward looking catch, and usually that means the ground was involved in some fashion.
3rd and 10.
It woke up the Wilmington crowd here, though.
Yes, it did. Capital at the Wilmington 20. Wibbler throws complete. Campbell makes the catch inside the 10, and he'll be taken down at about the 7-yard line, excuse me.
How do you guard this guy? He is a monster on the outside. 6'4", 205. He's a freshman, too. He's going to add at least 20 pounds of that this offseason.
Mercy.
He is going to be a gigantic target, especially down here in the red zone for Capital next season.
He's Rob Gronkowski light.
Yeah, you should see this guy in practice. I'm telling you, these 7-on-7 drills, no one on Capital's defense can guard him.
So now it's first and goal for Capital from the Quakers 7-yard line. Capital 17, Wilmington 14, 8:21 and counting in the third quarter. Wibbler will fake the jet sweep, play action, throw, cat! Cam Lee, your man Jimmy, makes the catch. Touchdown, Capital.
3 touchdowns for him already now. He had 2 in the Ohio Northern game. Very quiet last week against Otterbein, and they've found a way to get him more involved again here today. Unbelievable. Out of Lehman Catholic, he is a very talented player.
23-14 in favor of Capital. Blake Middleton now on for the extra point, trying to make this a 10-point game. And how about Capital? After getting that turnover, thanks to the busted fake punt play by Wilmington, Capital's able to take it into the end zone, take advantage of the turnover, and give themselves some breathing room. Quick timeout. 8:14 remain in the third quarter. Capital 24, Wilmington 14. You're listening to and watching a presentation of Crusaders football here on the Capital Sports Network. .14 remain in the third quarter. Capital 24, Wilmington 14. Alongside Jimmy Bloomfield, I'm Charlie Danis. This is Crusaders football here on the Capital Sports Network. Moments ago, Cam Lee with a 7-yard touchdown reception. Give him 3 on the season. And boy, Cam Lee just continues to be more and more of a big offensive weapon.
Yeah, I mean, and Chris Lee, his brother and assistant coach on the team, very much part of the Capital family. His parents, Peg and Chris, both went to Capital as well. His sister currently runs track here at Capital as well. Cassie Lee, also with a K, as they got that theme going on. And Chris, man, this kid, he's going to be a special talent, and only a freshman, and keeping the family tradition alive for the Lee family.
Chris Lee, currently a coach for Capital. And by the way, that family, big Philadelphia Eagles fans. I'm sure they were very happy last year when the Eagles finally broke through with the first Super Bowl in franchise history. Meanwhile, a return for Wilmington, and this will get a roar from the Capital squad as the returner is knocked down at the 15-yard line. Nowhere to go that time if you're Jonathan Shampton Jr.
So, I mean, we talked about this going into the locker room. That Capital could have a 10-point lead going into the middle of the third quarter. They didn't get points on their first possession, but after the stop on the fake punt and the touchdown for Cam Lee, all of a sudden we're in that situation now. 2-score game. Shows you how big that field goal was at the end of the half to get those extra points on the board. So now you have a 2-possession lead, and Wilmington might be turned a little bit one-dimensional here in a minute if they don't get points on this drive.
Barrett will hand off right now, and oh boy, this could be a big run play. Taken down at the 30-yard line at the last moment was Chambers, who's been having a very good day running the ball, and now a Crusader is hurt. So stop the clock with 8:02 remaining in the third quarter. Capital leading Wilmington 24-14. And
trying to get a number myself here. I'm not sure who's down. It looks like one of the linemen, but I don't want to speculate. El Said, by the way, with a huge saving tackle there, like you said. You said, "Oh boy," and it looks like he was about to bust that all the way. And El Said came in and just kind of grabbed at him, and the rest of the defense then was able to swarm Chambers and keep it to a 10-yard gain. That could have been a very big play.
While they tend to the injured player, let's step aside for a moment. 8:02 remain in the third quarter. Capital 24, Wilmington 14, here on the Capital Sports Network. Well, that was quick. Michael Luafo will now be walking off under his own power. And boy, Capital can ill afford to lose a player like Luafo. Leading tackler, he has been having a great year at his outside linebacker spot. He'll be heading to the Capital sideline right now. Now we reset. Wilmington 1st and 10 at their own 30-yard line. Capital 24, Wilmington 14. Can Capital force another defensive stop and give their offense another opportunity to really put some breathing room between both these teams? A run play up the middle. And this will be a decent run for Chambers, as he'll take it to about the 33-yard line. Gain of 3 on that last play.
Wilmington kind of getting the air sucked out of them there. It looked like they had a big takeaway with the interception. Call got overturned, and 2 pass plays later, they find themselves down by 10. Last drive to start the half stalled out for them as well, and just trying to get something going again. They had 7 points on the first play of the game. They've scored 7 since.
Barrett, meanwhile, will hand off to Chambers. 35-40, 45, midfield, 45-40. He'll finally be tackled out of bounds. His boy Chambers boot scooting it quickly into Capital territory, and the Quakers, they're not done just yet. And Capital really needs to tighten up on that run defense.
Yeah, that was the play they were looking for. Chambers doesn't even have 10 carries today. He's already over 100 yards and a touchdown. And Wilmington might like to throw it with Barrett, who's 10 for 14 today, but I think you got to keep running the ball. That's been the success.
Barrett will choose to pass. It is almost picked up by Jordan Duncan.
Almost picked off twice. Cole Carter on the deflection almost picked it too. Or I'm sorry, McCaskey again. Almost picked it off for a 3rd pick this season.
Matt Credit was the intended target for Wilmington, so Wilmington will find another day right here.
I just don't get it. I mean, Chambers has been ripping off 10 yards a pop here, 10.4 to be exact. I don't understand why you don't just stay on the ground. There's no reason to go for a pass play there into double coverage as well.
2nd and 10. Wilmington at the Capital 38-yard line. Barrett will put a man in motion as he'll set up in the shotgun. He'll go back to pass, and it's just off the fingertips of Ace Taylor. Incomplete, and a rare drop for Taylor, who's been pretty dependable with his hands.
That was a bad throw, too. That was kind of extending his arm way away from his body there. And even if he catches that, that's a 2-yard gain at most. Again, I don't like the play calling there from Wilmington. You've got a running back that is red hot right now, and you've effectively taken him out of this drive now. It's 3rd and 10. Someone in the passing game is going to have to make a play. Their leading receiver, Richardson, by the way, not on the field for this snap.
So now 3rd and 10. Wilmington at the Capital 38-yard line. Barrett will take the snap. Back to pass, trying to set up a screen. Chambers makes the catch, 35, and he'll be bounced out of bounds at the 30-yard line, short of the first down by a couple yards. So once again, it's going to be decision time here for head coach Brian Moore and his Quakers.
This is an easy call. They're going to go for it. I would have liked to see that play if you're a Wilmington fan, probably on 2nd down, where you could come back here on 3rd and short now and get the pickup on the ground. Now that it's 4th and short, it's a much different situation. The backup running back, Johnson, comes into the slot to the left.
So now it is 4th and 2. Wilmington at the Capital 30-yard line. Barrett puts a man in motion, takes the snap, throws over the middle, and it's incomplete. Now flags come out. Ace Taylor was the intended target. In on the play defensively was outside.
I think he got there at the right time. It didn't look like there was early contact, but I think we're going to see a defensive penalty here that'll keep the drive alive.
And that is the signal, the initial signal from our head referee.
Man, that is just the play calling there. That sequence of downs was frankly terrible, keeping Chambers out of the play on 1st, 2nd, and 4th down, and they're going to get bailed out with a penalty as a result.
Pass interference. Defense, number 7. Spot foul.
He must have just got there early, but it looks like he got there at the right time. Maybe some holding that we didn't see in traffic, kind of tugging at him to get that launch in front. If this isn't a play that Chambers on the ground, I don't know what I'm going to say, Charlie.
1st and 10. And Chambers will get the carry. Don't worry, Jimmy. Luckily for Capital, it only goes for a short gain of a couple yards. But, yeah, I'm right there with you. If you have a beast there in the backfield that's been ripping off big yardage like Chambers, you got to feed the beast.
2nd and 9 coming up after Chambers doesn't get it there. And I mean, it's probably pretty obvious that he was going to get the carry after you go away from him. Now it's probably going to be a pass play again on 2nd down, probably a short pass for Taylor, and it's just becoming a very predictable offense from Wilmington.
2nd and 9. Wilmington at the Capital 23. Barrett takes the snap. He'll hand to Chambers once again. Chambers will run forward, and that will be for a couple of yards. Actually, a Christian Pointer, with the carry.
He's been getting the ball a little bit more often than he's typically getting in games. Usually gets maybe 3 or 4 carries a game. That's his second, I guess, but he's usually in there as a blocker, and Wilmington's been using him out of the backfield as a ball carrier. Chambers checks back in. 3rd and 7. And this is interesting, too, now because you're starting to get to field goal range. It's a 38-yarder from here. And a field goal would matter in this situation as you'd put yourself back down by 7 if you make it. So I think you're looking for a conservative 3rd down play call here.
Barrett back to throw on this 3rd and 7. Surveys the field over the middle. Caught inside the 5-yard line. Ace Taylor making the reception. And now the Quakers are going to be about 4 yards away from pay dirt and inching closer to Capital.
Yeah, I called the Taylor catch there one play too early. There it is. And again, even though it was downfield, Charlie, it was still a safe throw to Taylor. It wasn't any kind of risk for a turnover. Let him make a catch there, and he does. And now 4 cracks at the end zone.
Barrett is in the shotgun. 2 wideouts to the right, 1 to the left. The give is to Chambers, and Chambers gets stuffed. He'll be stopped at the 2-yard line.
Looks like he moved early there and got away with a false start, too. He was already gesturing his body towards the snap to Barrett with his hands ready for a handoff before the ball was even snapped there. Capital still stopped him.
4:07 remaining in the 3rd quarter. Capital 24, Wilmington 14, but the Quakers in prime position to get to within 3 potentially.
Yeah, for Capital, you're thinking 2 more stops here and just hope Wilmington kicks the field goal.
Barrett, once again in the shotgun. He'll hand to Chambers. No, he'll keep it himself. Barrett is going to be dropped back at the 6-yard line. And, Jimmy, I'm seeing you shaking your head right there.
I don't like it again. I mean, Barrett hasn't ran the ball today other than 1 carry for 1 yard. And it's just not the situation to get cute there. Just give it to your tailback. Let him make a play on it. If not, if you're going to go play action, create a moving pocket for Barrett and try to find someone in the end zone. Richardson, back in. He hasn't been on the field basically the entire drive. I wasn't sure if he was battling an injury or something, but he's back in there to the right.
So now it's 3rd and goal, and after that loss, Quakers are backed up to the 7-yard line. Barrett will take the snap. He'll look. Throws. It's incomplete. His intended target that time was Ace Taylor, but I don't know if that was a bad throw, if Taylor wasn't able to get his hands up in time. Either way, not a good result for Wilmington, but a big stop for Capital defensively.
Sure was. I don't think Taylor saw the ball coming in. McCauley, the linebacker, was late to drop back there. If he's back in his zone, that is an interception. They didn't even look at him, and McCauley at least got in the passing lane there, so Taylor didn't see the ball coming in. Good coverage from the linebacker.
So, on for the field goal will be Tyler Butcher, 6'5", 185-pound sophomore. Snap back, goal down, kick is up. It is good. 3:01 remaining in the 3rd quarter. As we go to break, it's Capital 24, Wilmington 17, here on the Capital Sports Network. .301 remaining in the 3rd quarter. Capital 24, Wilmington 17. 23-yard field goal by Tyler Butcher. Good. So that brings Wilmington within 7 points. Although, Jimmy, just going back to that drive as a whole for Wilmington, the play calling, very lacking right there.
Yeah, Chambers had a fantastic start to that drive. He's over 100 yards now, by the way, on the ground. 11 carries for 105, and they kind of went away from him there, especially once they got to about the 30-yard line or so. A big Capital penalty kept that drive alive, and Butcher able to get 3 more points in there, so it's a 1-touchdown game.
This is sent skyward. LaShawn Sanders Jr. at the 20, 25, 30. Flag thrown at the 36-yard line.
Probably a hold, yeah.
Sanders was tackled on the play.
Yeah, looks like it is going to be a hold from the back judge.
So Capital's offense coming back onto the field, updating you offensively on what Capital's done statistically today. Thomas Wibbler, 21 of 31 through the air, 178 passing yards, 1 touchdown. Wibbler also has 30 rushing yards and a score. Dar Stanford, 8 catches for 65 yards. Cam Lee, 4 catches for 46 yards and a score. So Capital still sporting a touchdown lead here with 2:55 left to play in the third quarter. And, you know, Jimmy, go back to that formula, tried and true, at least for this day for the Capital offense. Churn out some yardage, get some key plays going on third down, and just keep that clock moving.
Yeah, and they don't even need a touchdown either. That's usually the possession we're talking about here in the third quarter. Capital needs to score a touchdown, They don't. This drive, just eat some time, get into the red zone, and even if you get a field goal, it's still going to be a 2-possession game come fourth quarter.
Meanwhile, a timeout taken by Capital. We'll take a timeout as well. 2:55 remaining in the third quarter. Capital 24, Wilmington 17, here on the Capital Sports Network.
Capital Athletics is all over social media, and our reach just got wider. Now you can watch your Crusaders when they play at home on Facebook Live. That's right. If you can't make it out to the field and you're not near a computer or big screen, simply hop on to Facebook. Find Capital University Athletics for our live broadcast of all home events. And make sure you like us while you're there so you never miss an update.
.255 remain in the third quarter. It is Capital 24, Wilmington 17. Alongside Jimmy Bloomfield, I'm Charlie Danis. We've been treated to a very good ball game here between the Quakers and the Crusaders. Capital looking for their second win of the season. Meanwhile, Wilmington are still looking for their first win in conference play. So now, Wibbler's in the shotgun. 3 wideouts to the far side, 1 to the near side. Evan Butler, his tailback on his left hip. Wibbler back to throw. Pump fake, looking. He's got Stanford, 45, midfield. 45, bounced out of bounds into Quaker territory.
Yeah.
Great throw by Wibbler.
Maybe lulling them to sleep a little bit with this intermediate passing game, and they still got that in their back pocket.
So the ball will be spotted at the Quaker 43-yard line as Capital will look to add to this touchdown lead. And boy, Wibbler has been on point today here on Senior Day. That's his 22nd completion of the day. Wibbler will set up in the shotgun. 3 wideouts, all to the near side. Butler still in at tailback. Wibbler still waiting for the snap, and now flags will fly everywhere. Looks like a false start is going to be called against Capital, and it will be.
That hurts, especially when you're trying to control the game on the ground here. You're putting yourself in a first and long situation where if you only get a few here on first down, you're going to make it that much harder on yourselves to pick up the first down on either second and long or third and long.
So now it's 1st and 15 after the penalty. Capital at the Quaker 48-yard line. Wibbler will go back to throw and roll to his right. Looking downfield. Pumps, throws, and it's incomplete. Closest target on that time was Dar Stanford, but wide receivers for Capital were pretty much blanketed by that secondary of Wilmington.
And now 2nd and 15. The clock's not moving. This is not what you're looking for on this drive here. And you almost need to go to a short passing play here just to get the clock moving again, and 2, just to try to make it 3rd and 7, 3rd and 8 maybe, for a chance to pick up the first down.
2:06 remaining in our third quarter. Capital 24, Wilmington 17. Wibbler is in the shotgun. 2 wideouts to his left, 1 to his right. He'll put a man in motion. Fake the jet sweep. And Evan Butler making the catch, but he's immediately swarmed at the Wilmington 48-yard line. Bringing him down eventually is Paris Weathersby. So now a 3rd and long situation here for Capital. And now, we might be hearing something from our head referee.
Maybe not.
I guess not.
We heard a lot of wind. That's about it.
Yep. Breeze starting to pick up a little bit, but it hasn't been all that bad.
No. I mean, the flag is basically motionless still.
3rd and 15. Wibbler in the shotgun. Capital with the ball at the Wilmington 48-yard line. Wibbler will go back to pass. Looking for an open man downfield. Scrambling. Throws. Stanford making the catch inside the 10, down to the 9-yard line. How about that? Dar Stanford made a diving catch. Wibbler just let that one go, and now Capital's really in business offensively.
Yeah, Ben Dews might have got away with a hold. One of the linemen on Wilmington was really trying to draw that call, and the official said it was a clean block. It sprung Wibbler out to the right of the pocket, where he's able to get out of the pocket and make a big-time throw downfield, give his receiver a chance to make a catch. And, boy, Dar Stanford having a massive game. 10 catches, 135 yards. And would like to see him get a touchdown to finish off a nice day receiving.
Absolutely. First and goal. Capital at the Quaker 9-yard line after that clutch grab by Dar Stanford. Now a flag has been thrown here.
Timeout.
Timeout by Capital.
Play clock was running down there, Charlie.
And now they only have one timeout remaining going forward. We'll keep it right here at Vermont Field at Bernlohr Stadium. 56.2 seconds remain in the third quarter. Capital 24, Wilmington 17. Speaking of scores, we'll get you updated with other scores around the OAC here. They have just started play in the fourth quarter at Otterbein. The Cardinals trailing Marietta in that one 24-14. They're just about to start the fourth quarter at Baldwin Wallace. Yellow Jackets all over the Polar Bears of Ohio Northern 48-24 in that one. Mount Union 45-3 lead over Muskingum. They're playing at the Muskies Place. 2:12 remaining in the third quarter in that one. And finally, 11:15 to play in the fourth quarter. John Carroll currently blanking Heidelberg 27-0. And also another score update for you from the Division I ranks. 4:52 remaining in the fourth quarter. Buckeyes of Ohio State leading the Cornhuskers of Nebraska 36-24 in that game. Looks like Ohio State will be able to escape with yet another win as they try to keep their college football playoff hopes alive.
Texas A&M lost on a 50-yard touchdown with a minute to go to Auburn as well. They were kind of talked about as a team that maybe didn't deserve to be in the top 25. It looked like they were hanging around for good reason, but I guess losing at the end.
First and goal from the Quaker 9-yard line. Wibbler looking. He will take off. Inside the 5, he dives, and he does a flip. They'll say he's down at the 1-yard line. Oh, my goodness.
He's living it all out there tonight on senior day. Wow. What an effort. He's going to be just short. And maybe go back to that Wildcat formation and let Wibbler get a breather.
Boy.
That's exactly what they're going to do, it looks like.
All I can say after that play is eat your heart out, John Elway.
He is wibbling. He's wobbling on his way to the sideline. That was not intentional there.
I know.
They're going with the Wildcat as we'd expect here.
Butler awaiting the snap. He'll take it, trying to run it forward, trying to spin out of a tackle, and he's going to be down. The question is, where are they going to mark him down? They're going to mark him down to the 4-yard line. That'll be a loss of 3 on the play, and that'll take us to the fourth quarter. At the end of 3, Capital 24, Wilmington 17. Come on back for the fourth quarter here on the Capital Sports Network. Let's begin action in the fourth quarter. Capital 24, Wilmington 17. They have it on the Wilmington doorstep, does the Crusaders offense, but Evan Butler got stuffed on a run attempt. So now it's second and goal from the Quaker 4-yard line. Crusaders looking for some breathing room. Actually, it's third down.
Yep.
Okay.
First down play that was Wibbler flipping.
That's right.
And they needed to get to the goal line for a first down, so that sets up third.
Well, there's no doubt here this is probably going to be a pass play with the option of Wibbler possibly running for it if that opportunity arises. 3rd and goal. Capital at the Wilmington 4-yard line. Wibbler in the shotgun. He'll go back to throw. Looking, scrambling around, running, throwing. It is intercepted. Tipped and intercepted by Traquez Parks.
Well, he's going to keep that one. Had one earlier on a free play. You just don't need to throw it there, Charlie. It's 24-17. If that ball's incomplete, you kick a field goal, you go up by 10.
Actually, Tavion Bryan, with the interception right there.
Wow, that just a huge play for Wilmington to keep any points off the board, let alone a touchdown and 3. You come out empty now, and you're going to have a touchback to start your drives. You're not even pinned back deep, really. And just the decision to throw there. The coverage was really good. They dropped back 8 in coverage, and there was nothing for Wibbler to throw to. And he's just got to throw that away and fight next time on the next set of downs. Take your 3 points, take your 10-point lead, call it a day.
So Kyle Barrett and the Wilmington offense takes over. And wow, one of the few times that Capital has been able to bottle up DJ Chambers, dropping him for a loss that time. What an impressive defensive play right there by Michael Uafo. 5-yard loss.
Wow.
So now it's 2nd and 15. Wilmington at their own 15-yard line.
Big response there to the interception. Kind of pinning Wilmington back and taking away some of that momentum.
So Barrett is now in the shotgun. 2 receivers to the far side, 1 to the near side. Barrett will take the snap. He will throw. Looking to hook up with Luke Richardson, and it is incomplete.
That was a beautiful throw. It overthrew him. But that ball just kept carrying and carrying.
I'm telling you, the Quakers might have something with Barrett and the rest of these skill position players. They got a lot of speed.
Fantastic arm.
So now it sets up a 3rd and long situation for Wilmington. An interception moments ago by linebacker Tavion Bryant. As now Barrett will set up in the shotgun. 2 receivers to the far side, 1 to the near side. Chambers still in there at tailback. Barrett back to pass, throws, it's incomplete. And there was a lot of contact over the middle there.
There's a late flag.
Wow.
I mean, Taylor was no doubt held by McCaskey.
Sean Sanders Jr. was also in the area for Capital.
It's going to take half an hour to throw the flag, though. I don't know.
Well, maybe he got stuck in his belt. You never know. We are awaiting the call. And now there might be a discussion, perhaps? Nope. I think this call is going to stand.
Pass interference. Defense number 28. Spot foul. By rule, automatic first down.
Okay, McCaskey with the pass interference call.
More of a hold than interference, but, you know, whatever they want to call it, it's pretty much the same result there as that Paul traveled about 10 yards anyway.
Capital 24, Wilmington 17, 3:57 left to play in the 4th quarter. So that penalty will keep the drive alive for Wilmington. Barrett looking for some guidance from the Wilmington sideline. 15 on the play clock. Barrett looking to take the snap here. He'll take it. Back to throw. Looking downfield. Throws off the hands. Incomplete. The intended target that time was Jordan Harris, but he was not able to reel in the pass that time. We'll bring up a 2nd and 10. Wilmington still at their own 24-yard line.
I feel like we're going to see a shot to Richardson here soon again, Charlie. They haven't really gone to him other than taking a shot there in the last sequence of downs. And he's kind of been on and off the field. I think he's kind of playing through an injury right now, and that's part of the reason this Wilmington offense is looking for some answers right now.
2nd and 10. Wilmington at their own 24-yard line. Barrett will go back to pass once again. Throws, and it was almost picked off by LaShawn Sanders Jr. Incomplete pass as Ace Taylor was the intended target.
Well, they bring in the 3rd down pass rushers now. Trey Zimmer's had a big game. He's checking back in. Bryce Johnson out there as well.
13:47 to play in the fourth quarter. Capital 24, Wilmington 17. We've seen Capital's defense make some big stops in this game. Do they have another one in him here?
Richardson's back in at the high side of the field to the left of Barrett. Keep an eye on him on 3rd and long.
Barrett in the shotgun. Richardson bunched with 2 other wide receivers on the far side, 1 to the near side. Barrett takes the snap, back to throw, surveys the field, scrambling to his right, scrambling forward, and he's taken down. Trey Zimmer, sophomore from Alinta, Ohio, making the stop, and now Wilmington will punt the football away.
The play was to Richardson there. He ran a post, and while that was happening to the left, El Said just got cheap shotted at midfield by Richardson as he made his way off the field. There was no call. I guess none of the officials saw it. That was weird. El Said just got leveled at midfield, and nothing was done about it.
Tanner Wollenberg will be back to receive the punt for Capital. Punt is away for Wilmington. Wollenberg will chase after it. He'll take it at the 38, to the 40, to the 45, down to midfield. Nice return right there by Wollenberg. Sets up Capital beautifully offensively here as they look for some insurance, some breathing room going forward. 12:53 remaining in the fourth quarter. Capital 24, Wilmington 17. By the way, I want to pass along a final to you. Ohio State is able to outlast Nebraska 36-31 today at the Horseshoe. So now Wibbler and the Capital offense back onto the field rather quickly, I might say. Receiver to each side of the field. Wibbler in the gun. Evan Butler is tailback right behind him. Schoonover also in there as well. And Butler trying to shake out of a tackle, but he's dropped back at the 49-yard line. That was a good push up front by the Wilmington defense, led prominently by Kyle Ackley.
Ackley's had a monster game. One of the lone seniors on this Wilmington side. Defensively, he now has 6 tackles. 3 have been for loss, with a sack as well.
He's got the J.J. Watt-looking band on his arm, or the brace, I should say. 2nd and 11. Capital at their own 49-yard line. Wibbler with the play action. Heat bearing down on Wibbler. Gets out of a sack. Throws. It is almost intercepted, and now flags are flying everywhere.
It was thrown in the direction of Stanford, and Tywan Berry immediately put his hands up in the air, and not even 2 seconds later a flag came flying out. And almost every time you see someone raise their hands, I didn't do it, there comes the flag. They're going to talk it over, though. And give Berry credit. I mean, he did try to release. Whatever he was doing to jam up Stanford, he did try to get out of that. And the ball is not really moving upfield unless they're marking off the penalty. Here they are. Yeah, they're going to be marking this penalty off.
Defense number 33 against an eligible receiver. 10 yards.
So an automatic first down, fresh set of downs for Capital. And boy, the penalties for both teams are really starting to pile up here. For Capital, 5 penalties for 41. Wilmington, 4 penalties for 35.
And the interesting part there is if Wibbler's out of the pocket, you can legally hold Stanford there, but with all the dancing, Wibbler went from left to right all the way around. He was probably still in the pocket when the hold occurred.
And now, there's a little bit of a discussion here with Thomas Wibbler and the rest of the offense. Head referee is trying to figure out the spot of the ball.
I mean, this should be easy. It was 2nd and 10. I mean, just place it right where the marker is and be good to go.
Ball will finally be spotted at the Wilmington 41-yard line. 12:08 to play in the fourth quarter. Capital 24, Wilmington 17. Wibbler with 3 receivers to his right and 1 to his left. Wibbler will now take off running. 40, 35. He'll lower his head. And he will eventually be tackled at the 33-yard line.
And Michael Vargo falling on top of him there to bring him down. A design run there for Wibbler. Again, anytime you can, any way you can keep the clock moving is your goal here for Capital. Up 7. And you're back into a situation where if you get another first down or 2, you're in field goal range and can really go conservative with the last 11 and a half minutes to go.
2nd and 2. Capital at the Wilmington 33-yard line. 3 receivers to the near side. Wibbler with Butler on his left hip. Back to throw is Wibbler, and Wibbler will be sacked. Sacked at the 35-yard line. The rush was just too much that time for the Capital offensive line. Bringing him down on the play was Michael Vargo.
That's 2 consecutive plays Vargo's been involved in here. Big 3rd down. You're at a spot where you're in no man's land because I don't think you're going to ask Middleton to kick a 52-yarder. And you really don't want to punt from the 35. So whatever 2 plays you've got, go to your money plays in the playbook here and get this first down.
3rd and 4, Capital at the Wilmington 35-yard line. Wibbler in the gun, 3 wide receiver set, 2 to the far side, 1 to the near side. Wibbler will go back to throw. Looking, throw, caught by Cam Lee inside the 25, down to the 21-yard line. Can't sing the praises enough of Cam Lee, Jimmy. This guy is going to be a star at Capital.
5 catches now with the touchdown that has Capital up right now. Just such a big target. Why not? 6'6". No one can guard him at this level with that kind of size.
I'm telling you, it's like having your own version of Rob Gronkowski,
right,
the tight end for New England Patriots. Lee could be that type of player for Capital. Give to Schoonover. Inside the 20, down to the 16-yard line.
It's not like it was a strong stiff arm there from Schoonover, but he did at least escort someone out of his way and was able to get a few extra yards as a result of that tough running.
Sophomore out of Grove City, Ohio. Boy, it was a tough season for his alma mater, Grove City. They didn't win a single game this year. 2nd down for Capital. Wibbler with the throw, and that's way over the head of Schoonover. Incomplete pass.
I don't mind the high throw there. If it was a lower throw, it could have been picked. So Wibbler's taking no chances, just try to loft it over to him. And again, if this drive stalls out right here on 3rd and 5, you've got a nice kick from here. It'd be about 34 yards or so for Middleton, and obviously that's well within his range to put you back up by 10. So again, conservative here. Don't throw it into traffic. If nothing's there, you just throw it away and kick your points.
Wibbler in the shotgun. 2 wideouts to his right, 1 to his left. He'll go back to throw, and this 3rd and 5. Still looking. Wibbler running forward, 15, and he'll slide down. Let's see where they spot this at the 11, which is the marker to gain. This should be a first down for Capital.
They might have to measure it here. We'll see. And again, it's not where Wibbler ends up on his slide. As soon as he gives himself up, that's where the ball's dead. So even though he landed across the 10, wherever he begins to start that slide, wherever the ball is at, that's where the ball is spotted. So they're going to indeed measure this.
Stops the clock with 9:29 remaining in the 4th quarter. Capital 24, Wilmington 17. Important measurement for both teams. Capital looking to increase this lead a little bit going forward. Wilmington trying to keep this at the very least at a 10-point deficit, assuming that Capital would have to kick a field goal on this possession. Chains are out. They stretch those bad boys. It looks like Capital is going to be a couple inches short. So this will bring up 4th down. I think this is a no-brainer, Jimmy. You go for it.
This is the same situation now we were talking about in the first half. It's 4th and short now. The newer knowledge and the newer analytics tell you to go for it here. There's a very good chance that you'll get the first down on a 4th and inches kind of play by running the ball or even running a quarterback sneak. If you don't get it, Wilmington still pin back at their 12. So even though a field goal puts you up by 2 scores, I agree. Just call a quarterback sneak and see what happens.
Looks like they're going to do just that. Wibbler trying the hard count right now. And now Wibbler will back out, and he will be in the shotgun in a 5-wide receiver set. Wibbler will go back to pass. He will throw, and the catch is made by Evan Butler inside the 10, down to the 8-yard line. Boy, that could have been real risky right there, especially if the pass had been incomplete, but the drive keeps on going.
Yeah, I don't like the necessarily spreading out the field there on 4th and 1, but obviously when they were bunched in, Wilmington was just sitting on top of the ball. And didn't look like a good scenario for Capital to snap it there, so they audible out, and Wibbler can basically take a look at the defense, see if he likes what he sees. If not, call a timeout. Obviously, he liked the matchup there with Butler.
First and goal, Capital at the Wilmington 7-yard line. Dylan Schoonover, actually Cory Heater into the end zone. Touchdown, Capital. Took it around left end, and the fifth-year senior, scores.
That's a great moment for Cory. Been through a lot here the last few years with injury, and even this season as well. And for him to get to finish it off with a touchdown here in his last game at Bernlaw, that's got to be a lot to him.
More importantly, it gives Capital some space between themselves and Wilmington. 8:45 left to play in the fourth quarter. Capital 30, Wilmington 17 with the extra point pending. Snap back, hold down, kick is up. It is good for Blake Middleton. So now it is a 31-17 lead for Capital. We'll take a timeout. 8:45 remaining in the fourth quarter. Capital up by 2 scores against Wilmington here on the Capital Sports Network.
Fighting Quakers 17.
.845 remaining in the fourth quarter. Capital increasing its lead over Wilmington, 31-17 in favor of the Crusaders. A 7-yard rushing touchdown by Cory Heater. Boy, that's got to feel really good for the fifth-year senior playing his last game in Bernlaw Stadium. Ryan Gasser, Capital SID, talking with him during our pregame show and going over everything that he's accomplished here at Capital. Injuries have dogged that guy for most of his Capital career. But, yeah, Jimmy, like you said, that must have felt pretty good of him getting into the end zone. I'll get your thoughts on it just a moment here. Meanwhile, this is taken by Luke Richardson up to the 25, 30, 35, and he'll rumble forward to the 36-yard line.
Yeah, I mean, for Heater, junior year especially, that was a year that was looking like it was going to be a pretty special season for Cory, and the injuries happened, and back then the October schedule was absolutely brutal for Capital, and it kind of just went downhill there once Heater was out. You're asking young Evan Butler at the time to, I think he was a freshman, to just go ahead. Sophomore, that's right. And basically said, here you go, Mount Union's up. Go ahead and run the ball for us this week. And it's just a tough spot for Evan to be in, tough spot for the team to be in. And going back to Cory, just phenomenal to see him get a touchdown here. I bet it means a lot to him.
Meanwhile, Wilmington looking for a response here offensively. Kyle Barrett will throw. Pass is caught. Down to the 44-yard line. Making the catch is Matt Credit. Setting up a second and short situation here for Wilmington. Well, all Capital needs to do here is try to get a defensive stop or two, try to get it back in the hands of the offense, and they should be on their way to their second straight win. They held on for a W over Otterbein at Otterbein last week, and they're looking to send their seniors out victorious here on Senior Day against Wilmington. 2nd and 3, Wilmington at their own 44-yard line. And the give is to the running back. That would be Mr. DJ Chambers, and Chambers will have enough for the first down, so take it to the 47-yard line, move those chains for the Quakers.
And they've got to act quickly here, like you said. Time is running low for the Quakers here. 8 minutes left in the ball game. And they need a touchdown, a stop, and then another touchdown to force overtime for the second consecutive season against Capital.
Wilmington in danger of remaining winless in OAC play, by the way. They're going to be taking on the Cardinals next week, who's also still looking for their first win with an OAC play. Flags fly everywhere. Barrett is now running for his life. He'll eventually be taken down around the line of scrimmage, and now we have to sort out yet another penalty. Both teams have combined for, they've combined for 10 penalties and over 90 yards of penalty yardage. That's a lot of laundry that's had to be sorted out here this afternoon. Looks like an illegal shift against Wilmington.
It's going to be an interesting OAC schedule next weekend. I was just looking forward to it. With Mount Union trying to finish the season unbeaten, they're going to play against a 6-2 Marietta team that's beating up on the Cardinals right now of Otterbein.
On the offense, penalties decline.
There's your illegal shift. And you've got that game. You've got the battle for second place between Baldwin Wallace and John Carroll, which could lead to a 3-bid conference. I think if Baldwin Wallace wins that game, you'll have Otterbein and Wilmington, the battle of the winless teams, trying to see who is going. One of those teams is going to finish winless. And then you got Capital and Muskingum, would be a very interesting matchup between a 2-win Capital team, a 3-win Muskingum team, both trying to good barometer to see where Capital is. And if Muskingum wins, I mean, they'd be a very interesting 4-win team this season moving into 2019.
2nd and 10. Wilmington at their own 47-yard line. Barrett, the quarterback, back to throw. Looking downfield, scrambling to his right. Still looking downfield. People are calling for a hold, but they won't get it, as it will be a run to Barrett outside of the 48-yard line. And boy, people are still complaining about it here at Burnlor Stadium. You know, Jimmy, I'll throw one more team in there. Got to give props to Marietta.
Yeah.
And the season that they've had this year. And boy, they came so close to beating John Carroll a couple of weeks ago. Imagine what the OAC race would have looked like if they had found a way to beat the Blue Streaks.
And they just lost to Baldwin Wallace on the last-second field goal at home, 30-28. Those are 2 games. Again, we've talked about Capital losing close games. Those are some close games for Marietta.
Barrett, meanwhile, on this 3rd and 8. Looking to get out of trouble, and he'll be brought down. Nowhere close the first down marker. Barrett, not a particular good scrambler. Now flags are flying everywhere. Goodness gracious, what is happening down there?
I think it's on Capital, too. Potentially, number 56, Trey Zimmer, was being just pushed away from the pile by his own teammates. And meanwhile, Drew Seelig had the ball. I don't think it was a fumble, but he came out of the pile with the ball. And Zimmer all the way to the sideline now, and very hot-headed as he makes his way off. I don't know if he was shoved or something.
Unsportsmanlike on the offense, number 63. Unsportsmanlike on the defense, number 56. Those fouls offset. That is first unsportsmanlike. 4th down.
So the offending party for Wilmington, that was Chris Jersky, the starting left guard, sophomore, 5'10", 240 pounds.
And credit the teammates there, getting Zimmer out of there before something worse happens. Fortunately for Capital, it's offsetting Miners. So you've got 4th and 9 now.
Wilmington at their own 48-yard line. Cap defense looking for a stop here. Barrett goes back to throw. He's looking. Throws incomplete. A lot of contact. Wanting the flag is Ace Taylor, but he's not going to get it. Turnover on downs for the Quakers.
That might just about do it, too. 6:17 left. Cade McCaskey in on the stop. We've got some really good players to look forward to next season, Charlie. We're losing a lot of talent, don't get me wrong, with this senior class. Obviously, Wibbler among them, Stanford, Kane Murray, Jordan Duncan, LaShawn Sanders Jr. I mean, the names just go on and on. But you've got some really good pieces coming back in that defensive secondary with McCaskey. Cole Carter's been an impact player in that secondary as well. He's a junior. And we've already talked ad nauseum about Cam Lee on the offensive side.
1st and 10. Capital at the Quaker 48-yard line. Wibbler running with the football. And he will dive forward to the 45-yard line. And you can just tell from the reaction from the Capital sideline, Wibbler, the senior, he is looking to put this game away. Capital up 31-17 as we tick under 6 minutes to play. The Crusaders want this drive to be the one where they put the nail in the coffin.
You're going to see him keep it on the ground most likely because of that. And Wibbler's going to come up short of 300 yards, but he doesn't need to throw it that often today. 39 attempts, which is a low total for him. We see him in the 50s quite commonly. And just a much different game flow today. He's been able to run it for 10 times now for 48 yards and a touchdown today.
1st and 10. Give us a schoonover. He's got room. 45-40. 35. Cuts inside. 30. Spin move inside the 25. All the way down to the 23-yard line.
It's another young player, sophomore, schoonover.
And a flag was thrown back at the 39-yard line, stopping the clock with 5:21, and that's usually in the vicinity of holding. Got to check the penalty.
I just feel bad there because of how good this team is running the football today for Capital. That would have put them over 100 yards.
Holding, offense number 5, 10-yard penalty.
That would have put them over 100 on the day.
Connor McLeod whistled for the holding penalty. Well, that'll back things up for Capital. This game not over quite just yet. 5:21 remaining in the fourth quarter. Capital 31, Wilmington 17. Wilmington has all 3 of its timeouts left. In case you were wondering, Capital has 1 timeout remaining. 2 receivers to the far side, 1 to the near side. Wibbler once again in the gun. Thomas will hand off to Dillon. 50, 45. Dillon doing a nice job as well of staying in bounds, keeping that clock running as he's eventually taken down at the Quaker 44-yard line.
Still under 5 minutes now. 3rd down. I mean, you'd like to see Capital pick up the first down, but I think you got to keep it on the ground here and just keep the clock moving. If you have to punt, so be it. Got to play the situation more so than just trying to pick up a first down here.
3rd and 6. Capital at the Wilmington 44-yard line. Wibbler once again on the shotgun. 2 receivers to the far side, 1 to the near side. Butler on his left hip. The give is to Butler. Butler will rumble forward to the 40-yard line. He'll be 2 yards short of the first down, but more importantly, clock continues to run. It'll tick under 4 minutes.
Timeout Wilmington, I believe.
That's their first timeout of the second half. They have 2 remaining.
Boy, this is interesting now, Charlie, here with 4th and 2. I want to go back to the situation again where it's 4th and short. If Capital picks up this first down, with 2 timeouts now for Wilmington, they can at least take another minute off the clock. If they don't get it, it's really good field position here for Wilmington. And this is kind of where that newer age of thinking goes into this. The analytics tell you to go for it here because there's a decent chance you're going to get the first down. If you get the first down, your win percentage goes way higher than it would if you punt here. And the trade-off there is worth going for it on a 4th and 2. In the older age, the old school train of thought here, punt the ball away, you're up 2 scores. Why even think about it? But this is where the analytics have kind of come into the game of football. We've seen it in baseball, seen it in basketball with a lot more three-point shooting. This is that next level stuff that they're been kind of on the newer age of thinking. And again, you know, a lot of teams have picked this up. The Eagles, we've seen the success they've had. Mike Vrabel with Tennessee, McVay with the Rams. This is that newer age.
I think that there's one phrase that perfectly illustrates what we're looking at right now. It looks like Capital will be punting the football away. Thought they'd be going for it here on 4th down. Bruce Arians, the old head coach, had an old saying, no risk it, no biscuit.
Right. And again, punting here is not like it's a wrong decision to punt in this situation. But analytically, if you go for it and get the first down, this game's over. You're going to win. Punting it here, you're still probably going to win. They got to score twice in 4 minutes. But you're kind of just giving up a play here when you don't really need to.
And Capital taking his time here. Cam Lee able to get it away despite a strong rush that time by Wilmington. And this ball will bounce inside the 10. It'll roll all the way down to the 2-yard line.
They're going to spot it at the 9. It hit off of one of the gunmen. It hit off Leofo.
Oh, okay.
At the number 19. It hit him right in the right leg. So they did catch that. I thought that Capital might have got away with it, Charlie. But that's why we're seeing it spotted at the 9. And there's the announcement from our official describing why it's spotted at the 9. I mean, I think we're still a few years away, Charlie, but I think, 10 years from now, you're going to see a lot more teams go for it in that kind of situation. It's still kind of a newer age kind of thinking. But once you start seeing it more at the NFL level, I mean, it's almost a weekly basis now. You're seeing a 4th and short call be questioned at, on Twitter, of course, but, on even the game shows, the pregame before the Sunday night football game have been talking about some of these decisions. When you see it happen in the playoffs in big spots, you're going to start seeing more teams do it at the college level too.
1st and 10. Wilmington at their own 9-yard line. Bear will go back to throw. Looking, and it's incomplete. Intended target that time was Zane Hart. 3:49 left to play in the fourth quarter. Capital 31, Wilmington 17. You would think the Capital would just need one more defensive stop here, have an opportunity to run some clock, and then get out of here with a win here on Senior Day.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, there'd be a lot that needs to go right here for Wilmington. They need to score. They probably need to get an onside kick and then score again. And obviously the odds are very much against them at this point.
Barrett is in the shotgun on the 2nd and 10 from the Wilmington 9. Barrett will once again go back to throw, looking, and it's picked off. 25-20, 15, 10, 5, touchdown, Capital! That is the nail in the coffin right there as Michael Keels, freshman defensive back out of Columbus, seals it for Capital.
Out of Eastmore High School, Michael Keels, like you said, Charlie, puts this ball game away. Really bad throw. Really just the communication there between Richardson on the outside and the quarterback, Barrett. He thought the route was going to get cut short. He throws it right to Keels as a result, and it turns into a touchdown for Capital.
37-17 in favor of the Crusaders. 3:40 remaining in the fourth quarter. Extra point by Middleton is up and good. Make it 38-17 in favor of the purple and white. We'll keep things right here at Promort Field. 3:40 left to go in this ball game. And now a flag has been thrown.
Yeah, there were some flags thrown after the play. This is probably going to be something in the personal foul realm and potentially assessed on the kickoff, as it was after the play. Middleton, by the way, has made 15 consecutive point-after attempts now for the Crusaders.
Play. Dead ball. Unsportsmanlike on the kicking team, number 74. 15-yard penalty assessed on the kickoff.
A.J. Brussel, freshman offensive lineman from Moulton, Alabama, of all places. With the foul committed there. So 3:40 remaining in the fourth quarter. Capital 38, Wilmington 17. Folks, by the way, want to remind you, college basketball season is right around the corner, and Jimmy and I will be there every step of the way for men's and women's basketball coming up for Capital. Jimmy will be calling the women's games. I'll be calling the men's games this upcoming season. And Jimmy, it looks as though that we'll be joined in the booth as well for those games.
Yeah, we've been getting some help from some of the Capital students here, Murphy Horning and Tom Cavanaugh. Tom was with me last night for the soccer game as well, and always nice to have someone to talk to during the game while we're broadcasting, Charlie.
Gives you a little bit of a breather in between plays. And as we mentioned during the halftime show, the men's and women's teams are expected to be highly competitive, contending for OAC titles coming up this winter. So we will definitely have more information about that coming up during the postgame show as well. Here's the kick, and it's taken at the 35, kind of a short kick, and eventually getting down to the 35-yard line was Luke Richardson. So Capital 38, Wilmington 17. Wilmington would need a miracle at this point to get back into this game.
Yeah, I think this is pretty much over. 3.5 minutes left. They need 3 scores. They haven't scored a touchdown since the second quarter, and they scored 3 points in the entire second half to this point. And what looks like it might have been a long day for this defense on that very first play. We'll call it a mulligan, I guess, because the defense has really come to play. 3 takeaways in this game. The defense itself has scored a touchdown now. Really strong effort out of Capital's defense today.
Probably the best effort out of Capital's defense this season. Barrett, meanwhile, will go back to throw for Wilmington. He's looking, he's throwing. Caught by Ace Taylor. And Taylor will take it out of bounds at the Capital 35-yard line.
You might see Wilmington now start to get some offense going because Capital's probably going to be dropping things back into a more conservative approach defensively.
1st and 10. Wilmington will have it at the Capital 34-yard line. So, if the score holds up, Wilmington will still be looking for its first win within conference play. And the way things are going for Otterbein today, Cardinals look to be on their way to another loss to Marietta, who currently leads the Cardinals 37-14 with just under 5 minutes to play in the fourth quarter. Both those teams will be meeting next week. There will be a team in the OAC that finishes without a single win in conference play, as that pass by Barrett is incomplete. He basically threw that one out of bounds. 2nd and 10. Wilmington at the Capital 34-yard line. 2:53 remaining in the fourth quarter. Well, on the other side, Jimmy, got to feel good if you're Capital. You get the big win in the rivalry game against Otterbein last week, and now you get a chance to send your seniors out in style with a victory in their last game at Bernlohr Stadium. And that's got to feel pretty good.
Yeah, and you got one more game here to finish the season on a really high note. 3 straight wins.
Barry, meanwhile, will go back to pass once again. Pump fakes, trying to get out. Now he trips, and he's down at the 38-yard line. LaShawn Sanders Jr. jumping with glee as he was able to trip him up. Sean Sanders showing off some of the dance moves a little bit. Hey, you know what? Why not? Senior day, feeling pretty good. Looks to be well on his way to a victory.
Got to return some kicks today, too. Clearly, that's been something he's interested in doing. This is his first game returning kicks this season.
So now it is 3rd and 14. Wilmington at the Capital 38-yard line. 2:15 and counting here in the fourth quarter. Barrett will go back to pass. Looking. Heaves up a deep ball. It is incomplete. Jordan Duncan in on the coverage. Went through the hands of Luke Richardson.
That'll just about do it at this point. That was 4th down, wasn't it? No, it was 3rd down, excuse me.
Brings up 4th and 14 from the Capital 38-yard line. Crowd is feeling it. Capital sideline is feeling it. They just need one more stop, get the ball back to their offense, and they can run the clock out on what has been a very productive senior day here in Bexley.
Wilmington taking a lot of time getting this play in. 12 seconds on the play clock.
And the play clock continues to tick down too, and
yeah, they're going to have to call a timeout.
that's their second of the second half, stopping the clock with 2:03 to play. Capital 38, Wilmington 17. By the way, folks, want to remind you, coming up after the conclusion of today's game, stay tuned for the Byers Airport Subaru postgame show. We'll name today's player of the game, look over the statistics, take one last look at the OAC scoreboard, reflect on what we saw this season in 2018, and give you a little small preview of what to expect when it comes to Capital men's and women's basketball as well. A lot going on in today's edition of the Byers Airport Subaru postgame show, which will take place after the conclusion of today's game. Well, Jimmy, it's been a tough year for Capital. Before getting that win over Otterbein, Capital have been winless, but now they have a chance to win 2 straight games, an opportunity to win 3 straight games with the season finale at Muskingum. But let's do it after this particular play right here on 4th down. But you know, we'll have a chance to reflect upon like what we saw from this Crusaders team this year.
Timeout allows Richardson to come back into the game here. He was initially not in the formation. He's set alone to the high sideline, and they might just take a shot with him and call it a day.
4th and 14. Wilmington at the Capital 38-yard line. Barrett throws, caught, screen set up, 35, 30, and this will be short of the first down, just barely, I think. They were supposed to get to the 24, but the ball will be spotted at the 25.
It's a strange play call on 4th and 14. It almost worked.
Making the catch was Matt Credit, but he will be a yard short. Turnover on downs for Wilmington, and Capital will take over. Now we get a chance to reflect on Capital.
Capital just I go back to the close losses. The Heidelberg game, had a really good chance to win that game, and then just couldn't get any blocking in that fourth quarter for Wibbler to make a comeback. Another tough loss to Ohio Northern a few weeks ago that you were here for, Charlie, and then the overtime game the game against Marietta that almost went to overtime. They decided to go for a 2-point conversion and came up just a yard short. Look at the season Marietta ended up having. So the team is close. It doesn't look like it because of the record, but, I mean, losing 3 games by 8 points, they very well could have at least 2 or 3 wins in their bank right now, counting this one as a 4th.
Cory Heater, meanwhile, with a carry. He'll take it to the 30-yard line, and he'll keep the clock running. Minute 48 and counting. This Capital team going forward, at least after this season, will be without Thomas Wibbler, who put up fantastic numbers passing-wise. Dar Stanford and David Barnett are set to return. Those two are only juniors. Andrew Ray is listed as the backup quarterback. He did some good things running with the football in Ohio Northern.
It's going to be really interesting to see Andrew Ray, who would be the projected starter at this point. unless there's a freshman that comes in, has a big camp or something, it's likely going to be Andrew Ray, who's right next to Coach Rogo, calling the plays in, and is obviously very well versed to the offense.
Speaking of Ray, he'll take the snap and kind of bounce it the way of Evan Butler, but hey, it works. Butler is able to take the carry forward for about 3 or so. The entire offensive line will return for Capital. Meanwhile, defensively, you have a couple seniors here and there that you're going to have to replace, but for the most part, you're going to have a lot of key contributors returning on that side of the ball. Michael Luafo and Blaine McCulley chief among them at the linebacker spot. So there'll probably be an opportunity for Capital to grow from this season moving forward and perhaps push themselves into the middle part of the OAC.
You don't want to put a lot of pressure on Ray, but he's got big shoes to fill. Wibbler, again, I think he might end up being a Hall of Famer here at Capital for the kind of career that he's put together here in 2.5 seasons. And that's very tough shoes to fill, no doubt about it. And his play is going to be a big part of how far Capital can go next season. There's a lot of nice pieces still around him. Is this a design play?
Another high snap, but Evan Butler is able to pick up the first down that time.
It's twice in a row that Ray's just going to tipped it to Butler and it turned into a first down.
At this point, all the backups are in for Capital as the clock continues to tick on down. 44 seconds and counting. Well, Capital will end up getting a win here on Senior Day. That'll make the fans of the purple and white very, very happy as Ray will simply just take a knee here. Probably needs to knee it just one more time.
Yeah, one more.
Actually, that will be the last one as both teams are now headed to midfield for the postgame handshake. Good for Capital. Crusaders come away with a 38-17 win over Wilmington here on Senior Day. Stay tuned, folks. Coming up, we will have for you the Byers Airport Subaru postgame show. That is coming up in mere moments. Again, Capital victorious on Senior Day, 38-17. You've been listening to and watching a presentation of Crusaders football here on the Capital Sports Network.
Be sure to visit our website, athletics.capital.edu, for the full recap, updated statistics, and additional information for today's game and for all 20 of Capital's youth varsity athletic programs. Next week, the Crusaders will be on the road to wrap up the season against the 4-4 Muskingum University Muskies. The Crusaders will be in New Concord next Saturday with kickoff set for 1:30. Help us keep Burnmore Stadium and the Capital Center beautiful, and please throw all your trash in the receptacles located around the stadium and lobby areas. Fans are asked not to enter the field house, but to please enjoy the Cap Center lobby or wait for your loved ones outside the Cap Center near the Mound Street entrance. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us today and all season long.
Welcome into the Byers Airport Subaru post-game show. Capital defeating Wilmington today, 38-17 on Senior Day. Good feelings all around here in Bexley, Ohio. It's now time to name today's play of the game, brought to you by Pepsi. Jimmy, there were a lot of big plays made by Capital. Of all of them, which one would you pick?
I think the Cam Lee touchdown that came 2 plays after what was an interception was eventually turned into an incomplete pass. 2 plays later, Cam Lee scores a touchdown on a 7-yard pass from Tom Wibbler that puts him up 24-14. That 10-point margin was the largest lead at that point for Capital. Wilmington was able to get a field goal back, but that was the only thing that Wilmington could do offensively. The Cam Lee touchdown put this game out of reach and was the game-winning touchdown.
Crusaders singing the fight song after the conclusion of today's game. That's one happy Crusaders group down there. It's now time to name today's player of the game. This is also brought to you by Pepsi. Who would you go with?
I'm going to go with Dar Stanford. Wibbler had a nice day as well. But Stanford 10 for 135. He was very pivotal in the early part of this game in the short passing game. He had 8 catches in the first half alone. And just picking up first downs on 3rd and 4 to get 7 yards. You know, he was doing a nice job of just doing what he could in order to keep the chains alive, keep the drives moving. That was clearly the game plan for Capital in that first half, and Stanford was the biggest part of that. He ends up having 10 for 135. He had a long catch of 39 yards as well. Just because he didn't have a touchdown doesn't mean he wasn't the biggest offensive player for Capital today.
Let's go ahead and take a look at the statistics first. The team stats. Rushing the ball, Wilmington had 108 rushing yards, Capital 113. Passing yards, Quakers had 177, Capital 267. Total offense, Wilmington 285, Capital 380. Third down conversions, Wilmington 3 of 11, Capital 9 of 17. Fourth down, Wilmington 0 of 3, Capital a perfect 2 of 2. And then red zone scores and chances, Wilmington 2 of 2, Capital 5 of 6. Individual statistics now. First for Wilmington. Running the ball. DJ Chambers, 103 rushing yards on 13 carries and a score. Pointer with three rushes for 18 yards, no score. Ace Taylor, 2 carries for 9 yards. And Weathersby with 1 carry that ended up going for -2 yards. Kyle Barrett, the Wilmington quarterback, throwing for 177 yards on 15 of 30 passing, 2 interceptions and a touchdown. Ace Taylor, the leading receiver for Wilmington today, 7 catches for 66 yards. Matt Credit, 3 catches for 26. DJ Chambers, 2 catches for 13. Luke Richardson, 1 catch for 67 yards and a score. Capital, Thomas Wibbler had 50 rushing yards to go along with a score on 11 carries. He also threw the ball 39 times, completed 26 times, 267 passing yards, 1 passing touchdown, and 1 interception. Dar Stanford, 10 catches for 135 yards. Evan Butler, 6 catches for 28. Cameron Lee, 5 catches for 60 yards and a score. And Connor McLeod, 2 catches for 11 yards. And the scoring summary for today's game. Wilmington jumped out to a 7-0 lead. Luke Richardson with a 67-yard touchdown reception in that first quarter. But then Thomas Wibbler was able to come back with a score of his own, 11-yard touchdown reception that tied the game at 7. Evan Butler, 2-yard touchdown run, gave Capital a 14-7 lead towards the end of the first quarter. Into the second quarter, DJ Chambers, 3-yard touchdown run. That tied the game at 14. Blake Middleton gave Capital a 17-14 lead at the half, thanks to a 28-yard field goal before the end of the first half. Cameron Lee then with that big touchdown reception. That came with 8:14 remaining in the third quarter. Tyler Butcher with Wilmington, 23-yard field goal. That made it a 24-17 lead. And then Capital was able to put this baby to bed. Cory Heater with a 7-yard touchdown run at the 8:45 mark of the fourth quarter, followed by a 30-yard interception return by freshman defensive back Michael Keyes with 3:40 to go in this game. So, Capital is able to get its second straight win. They are able to get a win on Senior Day, and unfortunately, Jimmy, for us, this is going to be the last time that we get to call Capital football here in 2018. Tough season overall for Capital, considering that before the Otterbein game they have been winless, but nice to see the seniors get a win here today, and also nice for them to get a win over the big rival Otterbein.
Yep, two nice wins here to kind of turn the season around and, like you said, get some good vibes for these seniors here, and one more chance to get up for a big game against Muskingum. If you win that one, you finish the season on a great note, winning 3 in a row, taking some good momentum into next season, and got a lot of pieces here that are going to be a part of the equation next year that you want to have strong finishes to the season as well.
One final look at OAC scores. Marietta 43, Otterbein 21. Ohio Northern falls to Baldwin Wallace 48-41. They have just now entered the fourth quarter. John Carroll leading Heidelberg 27-0. And Mount Union leading beats Muskingum today, I should say, 52-10. Well, Jimmy, before we go, we got basketball coming up here for Capital. As I mentioned towards the end of the game, I'll be calling men's basketball. You'll be calling women's basketball. Let's go ahead and quickly preview those two teams.
Yeah, the women, I said earlier, Otterbein was projected to win in that coaches poll, but it was actually Baldwin Wallace, my mistake. But Capital's voted second. It's going to be really interesting to see what they've got with a new group of freshmen coming in, some players from last season's team as well getting healthier. And much like the men's team that you're going to touch on here in just a second, a lot of familiar faces around the program, so it should be a very veteran starting lineup. That group of freshmen from last season for Capital, they got a lot of big wins for them, Taphorn and Fullen among them. Getting a year older, that always helps. And it's going to be a really good sophomore class to complement a really veteran starting lineup. And I'm sure Coach Jeffers is pretty excited about the group that she has this season.
Meanwhile, on the men's side, same thing, veteran leadership. These are players, Jimmy, that you and I have had the privilege of watching over the last couple of years. Austin Schreck, Caleb Cox, Joey also coming back for the game, coming back for this team for Capital. They put on a good showing against what should be an improved Dayton Flyers team at the Division I level in the exhibition game the other night. Joey Weingartner, that's the name that I was trying to come up with. He should be a big contributor for Capital coming up this season. Our first men's basketball broadcast is not going to be until Sunday, November 25th. Basically, the Sunday after Thanksgiving. They'll play Ohio Wesleyan in that game. They'll have a Wednesday night affair against Adrian, Michigan, before finally opening up OSC play against Otterbein on Saturday, December 1st. And the start for you, Jimmy, for women's basketball, it's going to be a little later than that.
Yeah, December 6th when the men travel to Muskingum. That's when the women will finally have their first home game. They playing against Hiram and on the road with Oberlin as well at John Carroll in a weekend tournament the weekend before Thanksgiving. And then they will play against Wittenberg as well during the week. Shortly after that, they have a nice break for Thanksgiving and come back at Otterbein to start conference play right away. And we'll have our first broadcast on December 6th, Wednesday night against Muskingum. We're looking forward to it.
Jimmy, I always say this after every football season, but it's always a pleasure to work with you. Thank you so much for helping me out, and it's always a pleasure calling these games with you.
Absolutely, man, and good for us as well to get a win to send us off on as well.
For my broadcast partner, Jimmy Bloomfield, this is Charlie Danis saying one final time, the final score today from Bernlohr Stadium. Capital 38, Wilmington 17. Thank you so much for listening to Capital Football here on the Capital Sports Network. We will see you for basketball season coming up in late November, early December. So long, everybody.